INTC in focus. Couple different headlines. For one, apparently we've got this shelf offering of this stock shelf. We also have with INTC some comments being made by Kevin Hassett, White House economic advisor, on the president and the administration, rather, stake in INTC. We also just got some recent updates here with GME and eBay, so that story is going to be in focus. But big tech, too, is on watch. Apple getting a downgrade today from Jefferies. You also have some more comments on Google and the Demis Hassabis move. Maybe he wanted actually a full exit. So we're going to talk about that in a minute in terms of some housekeeping as well, as we have like an hour and a half to go until the bell. We don't have any economic data in focus, but at 3 p.m. we're going to be getting some comments from Fed's hammock. So a little bit of Fed speak on watch, lots of big tech and other movers in watch, including some post-market earnings that are going to be of interest, I think, to a lot of our traders, lots of retail names. But let's kick it off here. Good morning, Sharif. How was your weekend?
It was good. Thank you, Adair. Thank you for asking. Yes, as Adair mentioned, USO back in focus here. With more possible tensions over the weekend, Tehran demanding that the U.S. end their blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and we'll have to wait and see how that all unfolds. And then we also have Taiwan Semi kind of reporting here with their July sales quarter, some of the best on record, and then Zuck continuing to push his open weight model, Muse 1.2, continuing to get rave reviews online. As Adair mentioned, Apple downgraded here by Jefferies to underperform, but it is coming from hold separately for Apple. They have tested CXMT's RAM over the weekend as well. More reports about that. And then the Trump administration continues to pound the table on critical minerals. MP up another, I think, 3 2/3% here as they look to take a $2 billion federal funding for the domestic critical minerals production. Then SpaceX up nicely here to start the morning, Adair, up 4 2/3.
Yeah, really good looking for SPCX. I was talking to Sean about this one off camera and its big move. But speaking of Sean, he's back, and he and Neil are here today, so we'll say good morning to both of them and send them over to you.
Good morning, everybody. And just to
I missed 2 hours. It's Friday.
I know, it was only afternoon.
I'm back.
Just hit the wire now. Archer, you've seen Archer Aviation just shot up about 15%. They're shaping physical AI future of aerospace and defense with acquisition of Boeing's Whisk Aero, Institute, and SkyGrid subsidiaries, Boeing to invest in Archer and collaborate. So if you're wondering why this sucker just got going, that would be the reason why. It's not a ton of like individual catalysts bad for Intel. One that didn't get mentioned as well, there's rumors, or at least chatter, that GME could drop their eBay bid. GameStop shot like 3% up on that. It's kind of giving back the move here. But yeah,
Is
so
there
far.
still a bid for that?
Yeah, look, apparently it's still in play, but there is a rumor that they could be, or Ryan Cohen could be pulling it. That's why the stock shot up. eBay didn't really do much, came down a little bit, but SpaceX up another 5%.
Yeah.
Intel, unfortunately, down on that shelf offering. So the chip names are going to remain in play. AI, of course, and then Apple's costs are going up. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, I mean, they are. I think
everyone's are.
Yeah, they're definitely going up. Yeah, but we left you on Friday there. We were going long SpaceX, and that's what the result was at the end of the day. Up to 132, 133, and then now going even higher there today. And we all were saying, like, everybody's looking left. This stock's probably going to go right, and there it goes, straight up there to the upside. We couldn't really wrap our head around why the pressure of the release of shares would affect like this. But then, as I was saying before, I didn't think anybody would sell as much as people thought. And you're seeing what SpaceX has now, right? Back up to the upside as those sellers have dissipated. Like, you don't want to sit on all this wealth and see it get crushed while you're holding it, and then your first opportunity to sell the low. I'm sure some did. It went down to 105 there on that very first day, but the sellers definitely after that have disappeared. And we'll see. You're right back up to the 50-period moving average. Really interesting name there, SpaceX. We'll continue to trade it. I've only written down one thing today, SpaceX. So we'll see what winds up happening there with that one. And then, yeah, just overall pretty good action to look at. Apple, 309. I mean, they had that low at 300. We'll see if they can get going. And then Intel's an interesting one because I like the stock, and I think it can rally back. Just got to wait to see what the NASDAQ winds up doing down here at $98 for Intel. But I don't know, what did AMD do on Friday's close? How much? Okay, 480. So still doing pretty good over there. And you mentioned also, I didn't even look at oil today, USO.
Up 3.
Wow, okay. That's pretty good, up 3% there for oil. So yeah, okay. Nice move there. Yeah, maybe we finally get some action there on USO trying to break back above the 50-period moving average. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a good one there. Lots of sports this weekend: baseball, football, everything was going off. So exciting game there. We beat our arch nemesis Royal York, but it wasn't even close. So it was like 15-2 or 11-2 or 11-1 or something like that. So we brought the pain, and only one more weekend of rep baseball, and then we start the playoffs. So you guys are already in
playoffs. Yeah, tonight. It's supposed to rain today, though.
Is it?
We
have a game tonight.
I saw in the forecast. It wasn't that bad, but I'm hoping we were able to get it in. Kids want to play, man. That should be absolutely fine for real. It's that point in the football season now where the only thing anyone cares about is make sure your fantasy guys don't get hurt during training.
Oh, yeah.
Like every single time there's a report, it's like, oh no, is this guy out? Is it going to affect my draft? We're fantasy draft season.
Well, that Laramie Tunzel's gone now for the year, which is supposed to be protection for Jaden Daniels. That's going to be a problem for Washington. So,
but Burden went down in practice. Everyone was like freaking out. That's a groin injury. Chill, Winston.
Yeah, these guys
it's
are
that
built
time
like
of year.
machines. Anything can pop at any time.
Any
of these players.
Well, it's tightly bounced.
Crazy.
Ooh, super chat. Let's start it early with this. I don't even have the page open. It's okay. Well, we'll do it old school. We're kicking it old school. So, Ari, thank you for the super chat. Petrobras. Okay. So, PTR 3, 4, whatever. That's like Petrobras is over. Is that dual listed? Petrobras?
PETR 4 or something?
That's what it used to be in Germany. But oil names are probably looking fantastic today. As I mentioned, USO is only up about 3%. I know in Canada, here, I can put up 3. It doesn't really matter whether you use 3 or 4. The charts are all the same. The daily chart will show you a decent idea. Like a lot of the oil names that have been coming back a little bit here have found a bit of a no man's land. Like there's Petrobras there. We're talking about, like last week, we were talking about CVX and XOM, kind of going back to those post-Venezuela levels. So they found a bit of a nice range here. The real question becomes, I mean, you're just headline driven. You get 2 factors. Actually, with the American ones, you got 2 factors for the big boys because the administration's not happy with all the money they're making. What comes of that? Who knows? Like, it's not an easy thing. And the crazy thing about it is it's not like they're putting all that extra cash, back into investment at this point. I think that's like what's catching the ire of the administration. But we're still headline to headline, and if oil prices are going up, then these guys are making absolute boatloads of record cash, and that goes across the line to all of the big boys. So they got a huge, like CVX here. I'm only bringing it up because it has a huge support at 186 here. So if you were to get USO pulling back heavily, or we just get more comments from the president, like that would be an interesting gap through 186. I like the stock, but you never want to be in the crosshairs of the administration. What happens next, other than saying we don't like that they're making a boatload of money, it's up for interpretation, because you'll hear the back and forth of, oh, well, you can just put a tax on their excess profits. That's one way of going about it, but that doesn't seem like the kind of thing that the president would do. So I'm kind of leaning towards it'll end up being a bit of a nothing burger. They'll just complain a little bit, and they'll probably invest more down the line.
I was looking to see, big oil, big business there for sure. I wanted to see what was going on there, if there's any sort of small cap names. We just got our watch list. Make sure that you guys are all over the watch list here. I'm going to just pop it out to show you guys what it's like. Our new format right into here just popped in. So the morning recap, giving you a little bit of a rundown of what's going on here. There we go. Talked about the Hormuz risk right there coming through. CPI all week coming in. So we're going to be watching out for that. So a couple of stories and headlines. And then if you go in, what's trading higher in the pre-market, good explanations here. Morgan Stanley, HPE, everything going on there. What's trading lower Monday? And then the individual stocks. Man, how come Monday shouldn't be trading lower on Monday? That's crazy. And then here you go, right back into more stocks and the economic events all kicking through here. CPI coming. This is this week, I guess. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So a little bit of a rundown of what's to come this week. And then some after hours and pre-market earnings are on here as well. So very, very detailed sort of watch list for you guys today, including, individual names, right? Berkshire disclosed a new look at Google as well. So that should be helping out for that stock. And just going back and forth with all the different names that we want to look at. I was trying to find to see if there's any small cap names running on here. REPL, maybe FDA approval down there. But yeah, we'll look. Axum Therapeutics, a couple good names. Hopefully going to give you some love coming back in. There's also some Chinese. What is it? Zep. There was another.
Oh, there's another. Just a bunch of consonants.
Yeah, ZYJLP or something like that. Hold on a second. Let me find what it was. Right there. ZJYL. Is that what it is? ZJYL. So let's have a quick little look at Jin Medical here. 4 million shares. So we'll have a quick look to see if this one could be one that's popping off right there. Yeah, ZJYL. There it is right there from Casey. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting name coming through today to see. I mean, we saw that Wing Yip the other day. A couple different names. So yeah, they're exciting to watch and to trade. And we'll see if we can get some going there today. And then what's up to Julio kind of thing in the chat says, check out Soar. Is that one that's soaring? Volato Group. Oh, wow. Yeah, 50 million shares, but only 17 cents right now for this name. So another name doing volume there in the pre-market.
Just remember how nasty these have been.
JWEL from Nimit. Wow, there's so many, man.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, AUUV. I just heard from Sharif in the back. D. There's another one from Nimit here, Jewel. So this one's trying to go back up to the upside as well. All you really can do is zoom out on these names, right? To try to find out if there's some sort of pressure points or anything up here. But this one, Jewel, we'll have to find out more about it. This one might be a good one, Nimit, $5 and trying to go. So yeah, we can watch out for some of these as we go.
Just watch out for the Chinese ones that are coming on the way back in. Like there were some nasty retracements in the small cappers. You look at the penny stocks, this one in particular, QNME was 50 cents yesterday at the open, went all the way, it was right to 99 cents, basically went to $1, like 50 cents to the dollar, and didn't just give it all back in the next hour and a half, it went red. So it actually went down to 41 cents. So it ended up lower than it was before. Like that VWAP failure trait from 70, it went 70 to 40 after halting down. So just be careful on the backside of these as they can get pretty nasty. And there's been a lot of these Chinese ones gapping to the upside. Obviously the ones that have news, better off. Well, I shouldn't say better off. Maybe give you a bit of a better chance. Just heard REPL, of course, another one. They're just all over the place. Just be careful. Just understand that it's momentum, and momentum can fizzle. As the faster it goes up, like the crazier the move can be back in, and that's one thing that you want to keep in mind. So you can separate the ones that have an actual catalyst or maybe bigger companies, because they're not likely to do the 1,000% that the Chinese ADRs go, but the Chinese ones are far riskier to hold on to. And then remember, if you're holding it overnight, you've got that risk of an offering at any moment. And that can be another big factor to worry about. So we didn't get a chance to show that super chat, but we do have some. I want to remind everybody in the chat. Most everybody's doing it the right way. So let's see DJK right in here. You want to talk about SpaceX, or we got look, there's IBIT, the dollar sign. I want to remind everyone to put dollar sign in there. Bubin saying Repl already has an offering, so that'd be dollar sign REPL. This one has an offering and is going up. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be chasing that one, but a squeeze is a squeeze. So if you put the dollar sign in, it just makes it so much easier. We can have our stock visualizer up, and in that way, some of these random symbols that are going, we get an idea of what everyone's interested in. ACHR jumps to number 2. You got AUD, which was just talked about here, one of the small cappers. And then IBIT. Hey, look at that. A couple of mentions there for Bitcoin, which is back above 65,000. Not by much. We're literally at 65,100. That's exactly, I don't know why it's in play today. It's exactly where we were in the pre-market on Friday before it actually dropped. So it feels a little bit like it's running out of steam up here. Needed to break out above 65,000 and ended up a nothing burger on Friday. I'd say gold and silver have been doing a little bit better recently compared to crypto, but we'll keep them on eye. Which one of those small cappers is piquing your interest the most there, Sharif?
Got my eye fixated here, Neil, on AUUD. The one I was calling out to the Katina man just ripped up there. It's a new trade, about 15 minutes deep, give or take. We're up over 100% already. We've decided to cleared that dollar area. In fact, we're knocking on the door of 2. And hey, I got the float on these guys now, man. So this one is about 4.8 million share float. Be able to give you the deets on this one. 1 penny spread. It is hard to find locates on this one. We've already done over 50 million shares. And as I mentioned, we're only about 45 minutes deep here. This is the 15-minute chart. Let's flip to the 5 here if we can. Take a quick look. Steady higher highs and higher lows. That 150 was certainly resistance, now acting as a little support area. Let's see if we can clear 2, Adara.
Once again, we're going to have traders watching USO, at least for this morning here. We do have this to the upside. Apparently, Iran has made some more demands for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, including some concessions from the U.S., with President Trump saying that the U.S. is, quote, low-keying negotiations with Iran right now.
So this is interesting because we're getting like different types of messaging coming from Iran. Seeing the Iranian president apparently at odds with the supreme leader. He wants to have kind of the option of diplomacy going forward. The supreme leader is insisting on a more of a hardline stance. Case in point, doesn't want any U.S. ships or Israeli ships to transit through the strait, wants the deal that they're negotiating with right now to be bilateral with Oman, not including any of the other Gulf states, which all have access, to, by the way, to the strait. And then you're also hearing about war reparations. They want a lot of money being paid back, both for being the aggressor and to fix some of the infrastructure. But over the weekend, there was this sort of 2-track Oman disconnect. So there's this 2-mile wide shipping lane, right? And one comes into the strait, one comes out, one is towards more of the Iranian side, one's towards the Omani side. Apparently, they're going to suspend that, so we'll have to see how that all works out. And then the maritime insurers, they don't want to insure the ships going through either. They're insisting at ridiculously high prices or just not covering at all. And as I mentioned, you know, the non-starter there for U.S. war reparations. But what did take place over the weekend, Adara, was an expansion of the war, sadly, between the Houthis hitting an oil refinery in Saudi Arabia. And that obviously will have issues with respect to supply. And we've been seeing more of that with the Ukrainians hitting Russian refineries. So supply here becoming a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, too, because, Sharif, you mentioned there the president of Iran versus the supreme leader of Iran in terms of their points of view. I was actually reading late last week, apparently the president of Iran was saying that it's really difficult to get a hold of the supreme leader. So it seems like they're even having trouble negotiating within their own country. So interesting look there for USO.
Well, Derek, people have said that, you know, he's either quite debilitated or he may not even be alive.
Yeah,
nobody really knows exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
That's fair. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the point of the issue here as well. So USO, guys, what are your thoughts?
Like, it half feels like it's trying to break out again, which kind of sucks, but you know, it hasn't really happened yet. So, like, obviously, we know this is more of a headline-driven trade. There haven't been the big, massive trends to be able to sink your teeth into. Like, we're gapping all over the place, but if you actually look at this intraday, like, you had a couple of days where you might got a couple of bucks looking at the trend, but we haven't had that crazy 5+% day intraday. It's mostly been gapping around. But you are, you know, the resistance that we had pretty much all last week at the 120 at the end of the week at least, you got above that. So that'll be an interesting test for us at the 120. I do believe there was news on Battalion Oil or something this morning.
What is it?
It's not really moving a heck of a lot, but those small cappers have been just dead. Like, without the bigger volatility intraday, as I was saying, in USO, a lot of those small cappers have been dead. Like, what you're looking for is basically what happened on Friday. Like, I think you look for the headline, and there was a headline that potentially there was a deal, and then USO became a short. The only mistake was not holding it all the way until it got back down basically to the close. But that's it. Like, you just wait all day long. It was a gentle trend, and then one news story hits, and then you got like a $2 drop there in USO, and you take advantage of that. Of course, the futures are going to move around a bit based on that. So that's how I'm going to treat it. Yes, you probably want to favor the longs in this general uptrend. That's what's been happening on Thursday and Friday. It was the same thing. You just sort of had a gentle long, but it was much, much better just reacting to that headline as the one only opportunity to trade, because there's not enough explosion here, pun not intended, to get any of those big time small cappers going. And we already showed that CVX 136. You lose that, that's a bit of trouble for that stock. So I'll be staying away from oil again, unless we see that volume spike like we did Friday afternoon.
I asked everybody out there what trades you guys are looking at today. MFD Generous says looks like a mixed bag. Short bias memory looks like the weakest, so maybe looking over there as well. Rocket Lab, I said, yeah, Rocket Lab's doing pretty good so far this AM, but it is pulling back in, which is what I responded there to. Googly right now with Rocket Lab. That'll be a story that we'll talk about there as well. Tesla for DQ85 trader, and I was like, you sure you want to do Tesla? I just responded to all of these. Interesting. With SpaceX being up 4%, interesting to go short on Tesla. That could be a good one. AMD, wasn't sure which direction. I think for AMD, for me today, I prefer the short, so we'll talk about that as that goes. And then Celsius and Nokia over here for Market Junkie. So let me know. Put it in there. We'll talk about it. Some of the names that you get right there, we'll talk about that in the chat and get going. But yeah, AMD down 1%. That's why I asked about which way. I mean, even though, it did have a nice little run into the close there on Friday, as many names did as well, you're going to see AMD pushing a little bit off of its highs here in the pre-market right now, 484, 483. So we'll see what the downside looks like for advanced micro devices. And also we have NVIDIA as well, back up to that 220 area, looking for all-time highs around that 240 again for NVDA. So it feels like that's going to be 236 and change for all-time high in NVIDIA. Slowing down a little bit today, but there'll be some pullback levels here. I mean, if we get into 222, 221, that looks pretty good to me down here for NVDA. But the market's pointing down, and yeah, pretty much shooting down actually right now. Nice move, right? 29.8, almost up to 30,000 there in the pre, and then now back down below a couple hundred, about 100 points off of that level right now. So I don't know. Just looks like we're gonna have to be trading some of the names with some stories here today as the NASDAQ relatively flat. And without any further ado, we're always going to look for different plays, especially if you're on weekly options, things like that. It's always interesting to look to see what the plays might look like here on a Monday. Let's go over to the screen with Joe and figure out what he's looking at early.
All right, guys, welcome back and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend, a beautiful one in the city, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the options activity from Friday. We got a lot going on here. SpaceX, $140, substantial move on Friday session, guys. And now we're going to look at some of these metrics. Now, not a coincidence that we run into almost $140 bright and early this morning, and then a slight rejection from this level. But what we do have, guys, currently is 30,000 contracts still open, and then volume 18,000 open and closed on Friday session. Once again, this is going to be expiring on the 14th. So on Friday, guys, we're sitting on a $10 spread, and you can see our delta sitting around $39, closer to at the money, right? And then here's our gamma exposure and our vega, relatively cool. So there's our Greek metrics, but there's something that I want to focus on within the contract pricing itself. And guys, we often see this leading into the close. If the underlying asset has any form of a slight pullback, you can see a drastic depreciation within the value. This held on to its value, surprisingly so, to the tune of 289% from the open all the way to the close. So you open up at $1.21 and then you close at $4.71. Moving forward, another name that's on topic here, guys, USO. Now, the derivatives market does not have any factor or any play. I just find it interesting with the size at this level on how USO actually may be moving. Now, there isn't really a correlation, I should say, with the derivative, but we're going to look at this $106 strike price. 106 had the most open interest and volume around 7,900 contracts, with open interest sitting around 7,500 contracts open and closed. Now, that is going to be expiring on Friday. Now, as for another contract here, guys, DRAM, $45 strike price. If you zoom out and look out at the daily, this is where we had a local pivot low. I'm going to be looking for this specific zone and $45 strike price to hold up. We have 32,000 contracts open and closed, or sorry, still currently open on DRAM here that expire on the 21st. So I like this as a potential support level, and then volume around 4,300 contracts open and closed on Friday's session. One more name continuing to climb higher, put in all-time highs last week, guys, is JP Morgan, JPM here. Now, as for a resistance zone, we're going to be looking at this $365 strike price. Now, volume is really light on this, guys. Don't forget, banks don't usually carry the most amount of options volume. I'd figure we'd take a look at some of the financials because JPM did hit all-time highs once again last week. 5,400 contracts still currently open at this $365 strike price, guys. Now, as for your Delta and our Greeks, relatively cool. But what we can focus on here is the contract itself. You can see held on to its value, but it did sell a little bit just before the close on Friday. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thanks, Joe. And yeah, DRAM not looking very strong out of those there. The memory names taking a, let's just say, haircut on Friday. Like you effectively, like Thursday and Friday was a weird one for the memory names. They started at 49 on DRAM, got to 53, and then on Friday started at 53 and ended at 49. They basically just retraced the entirety of the move. It does set it up that if there's, I mean, the market's flat right now. The Nasdaq's very, very slightly down, and it was holding on to green earlier. So you are relatively weak in these names. It is a bit of a flat bottom here on DRAM. Like you look at what happened with, we'll just go down the line. I mean, SK Hynix, they're the cheapest one in terms of the valuation, and we'll let's talk about how cheap like the single-digit valuation is going to be. But it was also the weakest one on Friday. Like to note, why I like looking at DRAM is because you get a sense of, okay, well, if I find the range in DRAM, which one's strong, which one's weak, is very obvious. You broke that low here in SK Hynix, where you didn't break the low there on DRAM. So this feels like if we get that flat bottom break, it's in the wrong side of the equation, unfortunately, for the memory names. So you get some strength. Like you said, NVIDIA is looking pretty good. That was strong on Friday as well, but memory chips pulling back here.
Yeah, Intel with that offer, Intel now breaking down below $98. So I think this one just had a big couple legs down right there for Intel. So we'll have to wait to see where this name winds up, basically where it winds up finding a bottom. I don't know where this could possibly be. We had a decent earnings report, but not well received, all the way down into $80 and a nice battle back there as we had, what was it called again? Oh, I keep forgetting the name of the hedge fund, but anyways, downside there as a situational awareness. Yeah, the selling there that comes off right back in. So now maybe a couple days where we get back into the downside here on Intel. So, all right, without any further ado, it's 8:28 as per usual here on a Monday. We're excited to have Michael come through. So Michael Noss will be back with us every Monday and Friday. And today's Monday again. So let's go back over to the desk with Adara and Sharif and find out what's up with Mr. Noss.
Indeed, it is a Monday, and it's a Monday with a big move for the stock that Michael's going to be talking about today. Good morning, Michael Noss, CMT. Great to have you back with us. How was your weekend?
The weekend was great. Well, as someone who was long SpaceX, the weekend was very great. But yeah, I hope everything's awesome over there as well.
Yeah, we're doing just fine over here. Now, you mentioned that long in SpaceX, and that's actually what you're here to talk about today, Michael. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there might be a bigger takeaway than just SpaceX for this one. And this is part of the power of technical analysis. And I know as the CMT, I should be the one saying, technical analysis can solve everything and predict everything, but I don't even believe that. But there's some places that I think it's really useful, and I think this is one of them. So, we were talking about that the $100 billion of SpaceX was just unlocked. It was like 900 million shares or something wild like that. And if we go to the next slide, this was just two of the millions of tweets and stock twits that I saw where everyone's like, just get ready. As soon as this unlock happens, the market's going to tank. And I know you guys have been covering this as well, but just for anyone who missed it, basically an unlock is where, when a company goes public, the insiders who were invested before usually have a period of time they're not allowed to sell. They own the shares, but they can't do anything with them. And different companies and different IPOs work differently, but SpaceX, there's slow unlocks over time. So they go, okay, now you can take X percentage of your shares and you can sell them. And those are on dates. And I think the main important thing is those are on dates that everyone knows. So like this, the guy on the right there has the whole bar chart for the whole history of when all of these shares are going to be unlocked. So the idea is, okay, well, now there's a whole bunch of people that couldn't sell before, but they can sell now. So there was a lot of people positioning short. I think I read the SpaceX short flow was like 38% before the news, saying, well, if all of a sudden you dump a bunch of supply on the market, the obvious thing is that the stock should go down. But the next chart is what actually happened to SpaceX. And on those days of the unlock, it had 2 days that it ripped. So first it had earnings, and it moved up a little bit on earnings, but then it gapped down and kind of erased that gain. And then slowly, as the unlock happened, the thing just rocketed and was gapping up. When I was making this chart last night, I think it might be at this price or a little bit up this morning. So I wanted to ask myself, is this a common phenomenon? Is this something that every time I see something happen in the market that isn't what's supposed to happen, that I instantly, my quant brain goes, well, is this the new strategy that I can potentially trade? So I went to, I think, the closest competitor that we can see, the most similar thing to it, and that is Facebook. Facebook then, Meta now, will always be Facebook to me, but they actually had 3 unlocks, and I kind of drew the arrows at roughly where they happened, about $20 a share. Hilarious looking at the price now. But you can see Meta exhibited kind of the same pattern as we saw there in SpaceX. It IPO'd, and it was a complete disaster right off the gate. Didn't even have those first couple days of awesomeness that SpaceX had. It just fell, and it cut down like 50% in just the first little bit. And then the shares started to unlock. And, I was very new in my trading career at this time, but I do remember the same thing, saying, well, more selling pressure is coming. People saying, I'm going to wait and I'm going to buy it under 10 or something like that. And then off to the races. However, this does seem like a little bit of an anomaly, because I found a study. So the next chart is just, summarizing this study, because the beautiful thing about this market is everyone's trying to hack it. So generally speaking, that there's a study, and the next slide just has the results of the study. So the idea is that they studied 3,000 lockups, and they found the average return after and around the lockups happened was actually negative, but it was only down 1.8%. And it was, following these same things. It wasn't split by the size of the company or anything like that. That could be more study that's done. And this was done in 2001, so maybe this is a phenomenon that's changed since then. But this study just showed, yes, there was a massive increase in trading volume overall, but generally speaking, it was worse. And then also the VC-backed companies were also worse, which is kind of what SpaceX and a lot of these IPOs were. Back in my day, IPOs used to come public to get funded. And now they get funded and they come public way later. But the study kind of disagrees with just this 2-area synopsis. So what I'm saying is that it might not be just a potential trade to take, but I think there's kind of a takeaway that happened a little bit after that. So the next chart is just a line chart of SpaceX and shows what I think is kind of the most important thing, and showing what we could potentially see with technical analysis is that it's priced in. So, 20 sessions of just selling. If you look at that SpaceX chart, it was down almost every single day into the unlock, and then it ripped. That to me is a pretty obvious example of the market knows this is coming and it's priced in. There wasn't it's not like every day for 20 days there was bearish news that happened on SpaceX. It just, everybody was selling in anticipation of this unlock, and then the unlock happened. And I think that's kind of the main kind of takeaway. So this, this next chart is part of the reason that it could be why, but, I just titled it, No One Dumps Their Life Work at the Lows. Imagine if you're somebody who has been working for SpaceX forever and your shares finally come unlocked, and you see that it is just absolutely just beaten. It's down 50% from the height of things. Probably you're less likely to sell it. Also, the market's kind of anticipated that you're going to sell it. So those 2 things combined, I think, might be the phenomenon of what we're seeing when we see these beat up companies get things into the market. And maybe, you can also see some of this vice versa. But next is just a quote. This is, I actually tweeted this and people got a little mad, but I just said it's rarely the thing that everybody knows about that you have to worry about. They call it a black swan for a reason, in which you didn't know that it existed, and then they found a black swan. They go, oh, well, black swans, right? So it's rarely the thing that's in a prospectus that people have known the date forever. That is the thing you have to worry about crashing the stock. In this case, it happened beforehand. Last but not least, this is just showing the rest of the unlocks. If you're interested, I don't know if it's going to continue to have this characteristic or if this was a one-time event. You've got some August through October That's something, but this December one is huge, right? That's 4.6 billion shares. That's a whole lot. And then, of course, Musk in June 2027, but that's a long way away. So the next big one, if you want to watch these things, are for December 8th. But the main takeaway, I think, from this is that if you're going to use technical analysis for anything, you can use it for potentially what is priced in. If your stock is ripping into what is expected to be good news, then that good news might not carry it higher because that's what the market's priced in. In this case, if your stock is tanking into what is expected to be horrible news, that might be priced in as well.
I like that. So it's kind of like sell the anticipation, buy the actual event, if you were to put it kind of in a glib way. I do have a question here, Michael, in terms of, I guess, looking for these types of moves potentially going forward. So the Meta and the SpaceX chart both look really similar. These are both very massive, highly anticipated IPOs that had similar reactions, again, like going a couple months after the IPO. So with that in mind, or I guess you'd be looking for that specific look in order to kind of assume we might get a bit of a bounce on the unlock. I just want to clarify for everybody, this is not necessarily every large IPO. It's not necessarily every IPO that sells off. It's this specific confluence of events.
Yeah, and I think my next game plan is I'm going to take the study that was done in 2001 and then run with it a bit, right? And just say, okay, so they know that the 1.8% down after unlock, I look at that as like it's a minor dip. A 1.8% is just a random one-day move, especially in IPOs. So the question I'm going to ask, and I'm going to start testing, and I'll bring to you guys if there's any findings there, is what happens if the stock is already down a large percentage, 20, 30, 50% into the unlock? Does that filter out kind of the random noise, and does that give us a real signal? So it's beautiful that you can see these studies with AI now. You don't even have to read all of them. You get it to summarize them for you, and then you can take that and then ask more questions and go on from there. So that's my game plan. I'm going to spend the next week or so taking a look at that in anticipation for Anthropic and OpenAI and all these ones that we know are coming. And if there's any findings there, I'll share them with you.
Yeah, well, definitely looking forward to see those findings should they come out, especially as you mentioned with these other big IPOs coming forward. Now, Michael, where can the people find you if they want to learn more?
StatsEdgeTrading.com is my website, and Michael Noss CMT on all socials.
Thanks once again to Michael Noss CMT. You can catch him on our show every Monday and Friday morning around 8:30 a.m. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on Friday.
Thanks for having me. Talk Friday.
Fantastic stuff, as always, by Mr. Michael Noss. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the NS actions this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades at the top of our list. Micron, we're still holding a buy rating here at Citigroup, but we're going to reduce our price target quite a bit. $1,150. That is down from $1,400. We're slightly negative this morning, about 0.9%. Domino's Pizza also getting the downgrade, guys. We're going from a buy to a hold, and a $353 price target. That's down from $522 at Loop Capital. We're negative 1.7%. Then Samsara also to the downside, guys, from an overweight to a neutral weight with a $40 price target. We're down 4.6%, but Piper Sandler giving them the downgrade. And as Sharif was mentioning earlier this morning, Jefferies downgrading Apple. We're negative 1.1%. But going from a hold to an underperform here and a price target of $263, that's down from $285. Now, something more positive, guys, HP, he also mentioned this morning, positive 5.2% going from an equal weight to an overweight. But we're going to be cutting our price target here to $69 from Morgan Stanley. That's down from $71. Then we also have Dick's Sporting Goods here, guys, going from an equal to an overweight with a $240 price target. That is up from $222 from Wells Fargo. But then SanDisk also getting the nod, going from a hold to a buy, and no specific price target here from Argus. And then Microsoft also getting the nod here, getting a price target increase by Bernstein. Guys, we're slightly negative this morning, but $660, that's up from $647. Those are your analyst actions this morning. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you there, Joe. I want to give a thank to Michael as well. Doing technical analysis as Michael does, you're going to see lots of awesome setups, and we do see this in the chat all the time as well, where you see the right read. You got the right setup, but you got the wrong size. So here's the truth. You got the skills there. Your count just is too small, and trade funders change that. You got 100K for stocks, 25,000 for options. Today, you keep 80% of the profits, paid every Friday. Never risk your own money. $9.99 to start, and you are refunded on your first qualifying payout. You can start in just an hour. No evaluations or background checks, just you and the size that you've been missing. So scan the QR code you see on screen right there, tradefunder.com. You can choose stocks or options. Shout out to TradeFunder. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show. One of those upgrades, don't look now, but Hewlett-Packard's on a little bit of a nice run. It ain't bad at all. I like me some SMCI today. We'll probably be looking at that. But Hewlett-Packard, after a consolidation last week, this one looks like it's running right into those 60s. So up 4 points today. The other name that is up 4 points, at least it was up 4 points last I checked. Now it's only 2. You suck at SMCI. It was up 4 points earlier. This is one that I got on watch. 32.6. Pre-market high, last week's highs. There's a lot of names that, despite the fact that the market just went red and is trending down, are still looking at least decently strong in the morning. But yeah, we are giving it back a little bit here. It's a quiet one for the futures, but right now, selling a bit. I don't want to say selling off. That's the wrong way to put it.
Yeah, I was going to say SMCI is a stock that I've been liking. I mean, I don't like that little downgrade there today. It had finally broken out. Now it's just actually looking here on this tweet finder thing. And I had mentioned it back in October of 25 when it was like, the price wasn't that much different than what it is right now. It's like $35 October of 25. Yeah, right into here. So I liked it into this area when it was sort of bunching up. It did obviously make a huge move down since we were liking it. Now it tried to finally break back above and get back into this 44, 45 area. But Samsara there today gets kicked back just a little bit. I think it's buying opportunity. I like this name, Internet of Things, involved in everything connectivity-wise. There. So watch out for Samsara eventually getting back to the upside. But yeah, a little downgrade today, bringing it right back into this $40 mark. So not a great little look there for IoT as that downgrade hitting the stock. I was wondering why it was down 4%. Only 23,000 shares. So not very much right here coming through. Yeah, the big one for me to look at today is going to be Intel because of the way it's been moving here, this pre-market, just downside right now. NASDAQ's also falling back in. So I think there's going to, I mean, right now, like I said, I just had SpaceX, been looking for some new ideas here. And even some of you on, I was going to say on the gram, but check out the Instagram as well. But some of you over here also, oh, by the way, I want to give a big shout out to, I hope it's on here, Kevin O'Leary there retweeted or reposted on Instagram some of the questions that we were asking him. So I want to say a big shout out. Thank you to Kevin. Yeah, buy, sell, low, high there says Archer Innovation, SpaceX, and NVIDIA. Two good looks there for Medell. So shout out to that. iBit's getting a lot of love today as well. And then some of the other names that we had already talked about, Rocket Lab, SpaceX, and so on and so forth. So yeah, just going to be some interesting names coming out. I do want to try to figure out what to do with Intel. Like I want to go long, but it's like, where do I go long on this name? Down 4% on a registered shelf offering there for Intel. But SpaceX also took a little bit of a dip into 130. Okay, 135. Yeah, I was going to say into 135, but still there. Into 134 actually is where we got for SpaceX. So although it was up when we started the show about 40 minutes ago, was up 5%. Now you're down $4 right there, almost in a straight line there for SpaceX. So yeah, it should be an exciting road to hoe today. It doesn't look like it in the pre-market that we're going to get so much action, but you can see NVIDIA also drifting down with the market here as well, looking very similar. Market tries to get going, NVIDIA tries to get going. So this should be a good name to watch out today as we try to get back into some of the highs of this is like the next Mag 7, right? To probably get going. Microsoft's been super impressive, so that could be another look here on any dip buys as well. Back up to $500 is Microsoft. With a nice little bounce level here for sure. Good top 505. Maybe we take that out if it gets going. So yeah, just a few different ideas there. We do have our watch list to go through. It's only 8:44, so it's still really early. Keep some of your ideas there in the chat, and we can get this all figured out together with some of those slow. AUUD was one that we had talked about earlier as well. Penny stock now over $1 and trying to go 90 cents up to $1. Watch out for it holding that dollar. And there was REPL. You guys were talking about as well today, 450,000 shares, but up 5% on some sort of a news there, making our list as well. So, and IBIT not really going. I mean, some people in the chat are talking about it right now. We can watch out for Bitcoin. I just want to see it hold 66,000. Maybe we can call up a bigger chart frame for Bitcoin itself, but it needs to break through this 38.
That's the bigger thing.
Yeah, it needs to just get through, right? If we can get through and hold 66, 67, 68, then maybe the next move is higher. But Bitcoin's been basically doing nothing here for a couple months. So it should be interesting. If you go all the way back into here, February is sort of where we are. And that's not horrible, right? Some stocks been getting, hit pretty badly since February. But again, most stocks had that run up. So when you're seeing them all the way back down, like a Marvell or some of these other names that have climbed and now come back in Corning and whatnot, they've had their run. We wait for Bitcoin's next eventual run.
The issue with Bitcoin is like you look at that sideways action on the daily chart, look at gold and silver do the same thing, but here's the difference. Gold broke out last week. So it actually showed a little something, and we had a not crazy day, but a continuation day on Friday after it actually did a real move last week. And you saw something similar with silver. It was mostly gap. Intraday, silver was actually selling a lot of the gains or holding the gains. But again, it had a very strong week, and that's sort of the issue with Bitcoin. Even when it bounces, it's just not doing anything relative to the overall market or the rest of the metals. It's just lagging everything else, and that's a bit of a concern there for IBIT, which is fair. And sit and spin, you are right about there's still some earnings to get to, including CoreWeave this week. CoreWeave reports this week. We got SMCI actually reports this week. We were just talking about that one. This one looks like it could be a little bit spicy. So there is a lot to cover, but man, that Bitcoin is disappointing. It's all well and good to celebrate gains or be happy when something goes up, because you should be. But when everything else that you think is supposed to rise with it is completely outpacing it, that tells you a big story. What are your thoughts on the desk with Bitcoin? Because you can't, even when it wins, it's losing.
Go ahead, Adele.
Yeah, honestly, here for BTC, we have Saylor continuing to sell. I've said this before, I'm not pro-Bitcoin, I'm not anti-Bitcoin, I'm just, a viewer of Bitcoin, so I feel like I don't have too much I literally don't have a horse in this fight, or however you want to put it. So I'll just watch, I'll just observe, and I think keeping an eye on whether Saylor and Strategy are buying or selling, that's probably how I'm going to just be keeping an eye on this.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to this regulatory landscape. If we can get some of these key pieces of legislation passed, right, kind of get the ball rolling. Also, I want to see exactly what central banks are doing. We've seen the drop in the price of gold. To me, that means central banks weren't buying as much gold as they had been previously. So are they going to go back to the US dollar? Are we going to re-dollarize, or are we going to de-dollarize and then continue to hold these sort of inflation hedge assets? To me, Bitcoin was one of those. But the individuals still leading some of these central banks are of a certain generation who doesn't really like Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I think, too, with the Clarity Act, we're now seeing on certain, I think it was CalShare, Polymarket, 5% chance this gets passed before the end of the year. So rough look. Not so rough of a look here for GeoOGL, though it could be going forward, because we had some reports here that Demi Sasabi's actually wanted to leave Google alongside Jeff Dean last week, but the company kind of forced him to stay on. We also have some updates here with Google and Berkshire. There's a lot of different ways to take this stock.
Yeah, I was going to take the Berkshire angle. We kind of talked about that, Demis, last week, but there was more information, of course, on the weekend. The concern here is, guys, that they shift the focus from the research side, which is very much deep mine and the focus on the London office, and they take a more of a commercial approach, and which is basically the California office. That's the concern here. But that always is the case, right? Between research and commercial viability. Let's talk a little bit about the Berkshire angle, because they're on a bit of a spending spree here. So they did participate, by the way, in the June offering, Adair, to the tune of $10 billion. They picked up 28 million shares. That was the private placement there. They picked up about 14 million Class A shares, 14 million Class C shares as well. They did go on to the open market as well back in Q1. This is Berkshire buying Google is what I'm talking about here, Alphabet, sorry. They increased their Class A holdings by 204%. They have about 36.4 million shares in that addition. And now roughly, we don't know exactly how much they have. They have about 82 to 85 million Class A and Class C shares combined, all right? That brings their position to about $28 billion. It makes Google one of their top 5 holdings with the likes of Apple, American Express, Bank of America, Coca-Cola, and Adara. This ends a 14-month selling streak where they were not net adders of equity. This is the first time in over a year that they'd add.
Yeah, significant look here. How do you guys view GOOGL from a trading standpoint for this morning?
Well, I think it's almost as if Alphabet's going to turn into like Mark Abell's, like it's the Apple to Warren Buffett, and maybe Mark is saying that it's Google is that little cash cow where they're generating cash. It's a very different company though. So it's, obviously he's gonna want to steer the ship and show his own way, and this is one of the changes. It represented some kind of a value a few months ago, but right now, it was all sell last week on Alphabet. There was a slight bounce, don't get me wrong, like it found bottoms that it didn't cascade through off the 354, but there were very muted bounce, all lower highs after our gap down. And that was the C-suite shakeup move. And that move, it never broke the 365. It's been trending down. All I want to see, and I said this last week, hold the floor a couple of days in a row. And once you can hold the same bottom, prove that we're bouncing that 50-period moving average, and then we can think about retrace back into the high. But it's been very much tight, consolidative, lower ranges the whole way through. It just hasn't found that bottom yet. Once it does, I think you get the move to 365. You get a double bottom from there, and we think 365 and then 365 breaks. I think that's going to be the next good trade. Even if it stays sideways, once it gets through 65, you got a tremendous gap fill. Just unfortunately, it doesn't really seem like there's any catalyst to get there today. Mike Phillip DeRider, not Mike P, not Michael DeRider, but Mike Phillip DeRider. Thank you for the super chat there, Mike. Good morning, land lovers. Okay, y'all know Alexander Graham Bell wanted everyone to answer the phone. Ahoy. Get your pull RP dime bag Daryl, legend.
Thanks, Mike. Mike.
Appreciate you. I didn't know about that ahoy nonsense. Land lovers.
Yeah, shout out to Alexander Graham.
I am a land lover.
Well.
I'm not gonna front. I'm not a big boat guy. That's why I don't go on cruises, man.
No, I've never been on a cruise myself, but yeah, shout out to everybody out there who's watch out to Dime Bag Daryl as well. Hopefully gets those dime bags, rest in peace, whatever that means. Okay, so yeah, look, I was looking at Google's an interesting name for sure, but as Neil mentioned though, not actually printing cash and actually negative cash flow for the first time in forever. So that's not generally something that Berkshire would like. So we'll have to wait to see what exactly that means for Google. We saw them getting crushed on that report, and then it was 9 straight up days, and followed by 3 straight down days, and now you're all the way back to the 50-period moving average. I think it's a buy, and I don't know. The last we bought it was at 320. We got pretty lucky that we didn't even wait the 3 days. We waited, I think, the 1 or 2 days there. I think we got in even the second day or something like that, right down there at 320. But if I could retrace back in, right? I'm thinking the Nasdaq's probably negative today. I mean, it's starting to get that way. I just wrote down Apple as a short there. I don't really want to think that Google's a short because I don't think that it is. But if there is a level that we can get into, it'll probably be this 354. So watching to see if Google can get back into these levels and then, probably be somewhat supported down near that 354 area. And if we lose that, then yeah, man, I think it's a pretty good short coming through right there, right? Breaking from Friday's levels, it looks pretty smooth. We're not down there. That must have just been a bad week. So we're still all the way up here. So still got some work to do to get back in for Google. I don't think there's enough story here to get them to the downside, especially if you want to trade weak, you want to trade low today. I think the names would be in the DRAM spot. We looked at some SK Hynix. That was lower today as well, SKHY. There it is right here. That was down a couple percentage points early. We looked at DRAM in general. Yeah, that's down 2.5 right here, looking for them to actually break below that 133. This looks pretty good. So there are better names to look at for a short. And honestly, the fact that Apple's going to have to look like they're going to have to pass on some of these costs over, I don't think that's necessarily a great story. So I wrote down Apple short in and around this 312 area as well. So many things to look at here today as it's 8:54 coming out, and we had some stories about SpaceX and Rocket Lab coming through again. There, SpaceX looks like it wants to get lower, and I've written down, potentially a long 130 or so long for SpaceX, so that might be in before even the start of this game starts off here at 9:30. And then we also do have the imbalances coming out as well. So we can have a quick little look. There's Netflix, not doing a whole heck of a lot, but they're trying to battle off the bottom as well. This is what the early looks look like. So really nothing. Oops, there's Archer there. There's that SOAR that was talked about earlier as well. 11 million shares, Archer upside there on some sort of a deal with Boeing. They're looking at something with Archer. And as we look down here, not much. There's that SOAR that was brought to our attention, 17 cents. Yeah. It's already done 50 million shares, so 300,000 is going to be a nothing burger on that name. Snapchat from last week, still around that $5 marker. And then MP, that was the story today. MP Metals. Up 2%, so that's another buy. So looks more buys than sells to start with, but still pretty irrelevant names from what I can see. There's WWR, is that a water name? Yeah, West Water Resources. I actually want to get involved in some water plays again as well.
I think that penny stock ran last week.
There's West
recently.
WWR, yeah, West Water Resources. So something going on there. Yeah, it was last week from 40 cents up to 80 cents and coming back in just a little bit right there. So I don't know if this is the right water name, but there it goes. Some American Waterworks is a good one there for water. I like it. Or the ETF FO, PHO right there, Invesco Water. If you think water resource is going to be a little sparse moving forward, especially with these data centers, look, it's been a good look for PHO trying to go higher right now over the last little while. So although we talk about data centers all the time, good potential there. Looking to break out right here on PHO. The top end of this water trade. Not a bad look there. I like the water ideas there. ARJ for water says beware the monkey. AIRJ.
AIRJ?
Yeah, what is it? Montana Technologies? Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in getting involved in a lot of these different names and just trying to find out some good plays here for, the purification of water, the supply, not the supply, yeah, but distribution of water as well. So is it AWKS, American Water Works? No, I think it's just AWK, is that right? Yeah, there it is, American Water Works. That's another good name that I think can get into your account as well. So yeah, there's AWK. So yeah, just a couple different names there. Going through, we'll look at nothing's really going on in the pink sheets today. Bitcoin hovering around 65,000. And our watch list getting ready to get dropped. Make sure you sign up for it. The link is in description immediately. Yeah, go grab it right now. New watch list. Thanks for all the comments. Some like the old system, some like the new system, but it's all has the same information.
The same information gives you a little bit more because it gives you a bit of a rundown, like what are the themes in the morning, but keep the feedback coming in for sure. We do appreciate it, but we are going to get into said free watch list. But before we do that, we go to the desk and maybe get a look at the futures.
Taking off a little bit behind there. Sorry, guys. 773 1/3 is where we closed out on Friday. On the SPY, we're about $1 below that right now. About 30 or 40 pennies below that. 772.67. We're a little bit negative on the day, down 0.08. But we found a couple of areas of support. One is that typical 770 area, that $10 area that we always speak about. That's a good area of support as well if we catch a bit to the down or a sell to the downside. And then there was that 767.5. We triple bottomed off there on the 4-hour chart. So someone's buying at 767.5. I'll be looking at that area as support level 2. If we catch a bit of there, we got a couple of levels here. 775, which is just the previous 4-hour candle high, and then the ultimate high of the SPY ever, 776.86 is going to be our 2.
You're looking for different stocks to have on watch to trade today, earnings that are going to be in focus. You can get all of that and more in our free, FREE free Trader TV Live watch list. How do you get this watch list, you may ask? You can either type the URL you see on your screen, or you can hit the link in the description for all the info you need to know to tackle the markets all day, every day. We're going to kick things off here with AAPL. You've got a downgrade here and also a reported update with regards to that CXMT memory being involved in some of the company's China-specific products. So a couple of different ways to look at this. Either way, though, AAPL poised to open lower, Sharif.
Yes, absolutely. So Jefferies downgrading Apple to underperform from hold, and they cut the price target down from 285.56 to 263.66. And what they cited was production yield problems that reportedly canceled something I hadn't heard about, a 2027 anniversary all-glass iPhone. They did, of course, cite rising memory costs, nothing that we didn't know about there, especially for full year 28 and 29. Those are the years expected to be hurting Apple the most. And they're saying, look, they may sell 2 to 3% less iPhones. That is their assessment. Separately, we did have a reported area, as we talked about on the top, China's CXMT. Apparently, Apple tested some of their memory products there as the AI boom tightens the global supply. Industry estimates are suggesting, AI infrastructure could also absorb about 20% of the memory capacity from the consumer electronics side for full year 27. That puts it into about a 2 to 3 year window, Adira, before we can see some recovery here.
Yeah, interesting look here. I mean, right now the stock's certainly not recovering for AAPL. How are you guys looking to trade this name today?
But Apple is, a lot of the time, the last few weeks, it's had its strength when you see like memory and chips go down and then vice versa. So it's had this weird, not weird, but it's had this bit of a counter trend to the NASDAQ. And you're not really seeing that today. Like as we glide down NASDAQ, it's also coming down. So that's the first thing I would want to see. Ooh, I don't know if that, okay, well, my screen just went blank, but you guys are probably fine. The first thing I want to see is that going to still hold true. And if we get any kinds of bounces, I had 314 marked off when I sat down, sort of thinking, well, we had all kinds of resistance up there to end the week, and that'd be the spot. And then you know about the 300 bid and diddling in the middle. I'd look for whatever the trend would be, and if we get a strong down move in, say, the chip names, because we'll be looking at some SMCI and some Intel today, that usually leads to Apple being strong and then go from there. So I want to see that correlation in the first 15 minutes to know whether it's holding true or not. If it gets to the key levels, like I said, it's in the middle of the range for me. So if it gets to the key levels, that's one thing there on Apple. On the higher time frame, so we saw with the relief rally that that some of the AI trade has gotten, it's been a very good bounce. Maybe not huge on some of the chips, but it's been a pretty solid bounce off of some of the lows. And with that, Apple made its high and is trying to settle. It looks like it's settling off the 300 right now. So that $300 level on the daily chart, if it doesn't hold that, I think it's a good buy at the 200 period moving average SMA. It just can't seem to get there because 300 has been a great level to buy. To the extent that we see that today, possible, unlikely, but possible, I think that's the spot if you like to buy.
Yeah, I have written down here, it's going to be the number 2 trade idea on the note today, and that's going to be a 312 to 311 short. I mean, you're going to have to watch where that 200 period winds up settling down. But I think a short in here for Apple is they're going to try to realize that, they got to pass these costs back on. So just working on the last few touches there. But yeah, I think if it does make its move back to the upside, we want to buy some, we want to sell some Apple. So down 1.5% today. It looks like the NASDAQ wants to, create some lows right now. It's doing it as we speak and just trying to bounce actually right now. But yeah, I still like Apple. You can see the market's retracing, Apple's not. So yeah, we could change our mind pretty easily around here, but I think we'll wait to see Apple in and around 3. I'm not really sure where the bid will come in, but I'm just going to look for the short early and then play off some of the momentum that we see. So that's 311.50 or so, these little lows that were put in on Friday afternoon. So any kind of a move higher there, we'll look at that. And if we don't get a move higher, then we're going to have to watch this 200 period moving average. So overall feel of the market today seems a little bit off to me. I'm not sure exactly which way we may be going. I'm thinking short early, which is where the bias is. Although I have SpaceX written down long, Apple short, Intel short. Microsoft's homegrown AI chip effort shows signs of life. Yeah, I mean, all these places seem to be trying to, all these big market cap names trying to get involved and create their own chips and everything. We saw Google with their TPUs and Meta trying to do the same thing, Amazon and all that. So it looks like so signs of life after a slow start. So that might be, they did have, yeah, they did have some deals with Broadcom and Marvell. So those stocks could be going to the downside. If
Microsoft broke 500 clean on that headline.
Yeah, good.
Right into Friday's high. So this could be a bit of a mover.
Too.
Looking pretty solid. So I don't know. Like the high on Friday was, I think, 50, almost 505 exactly. So you get a 1% bump up. You retest that 505. That's been a big one. Before we get to the next topic, which is going to be the Intel drop. Thank you, Omen, for the super chat. Where's Brent? Chilling with Mitch McConnell? I assume you mean Brent futures, Brent oil has got to be what you're talking about here, and it's on the rise. Unfortunately, most people don't want oil to go higher, but it is. It's nothing crazy. Like we keep saying, like, yeah, we might be heading higher and gapped up, but we haven't had those big, crazy intraday, type of situation. We're not seeing like that 4, 5, 6% intraday. We're only ever getting a gap and then holding it. So I'll be waiting for, just like on Friday, just wait for an opportunity when news hits. And if you're quick, join trade, or join the trend if you get it, or maybe look for a bit of a reversion. But that's my only look for oil there. Intel is dropping, still actually dropping. What's the reason why, everybody?
Yeah, there certainly are some reasons why. I want to start by going over this Microsoft story a bit. Also, I interpreted Brent as maybe they meant like Brendan. I only say that because of the Mitch McConnell joke there as well. But Brendan is alive and well, and I can actually see him from right here. If you did mean Brendan, in fact. Super chatter, thank you for the support for the show. Let's take a look here at MSFT, though, right before we get into INTC. So the information reports here on Microsoft with the headline, quote, Microsoft's homegrown AI chip effort shows signs of life after a show start. Apparently, they're actually in talks with TSM to make some chips here. TSM not reacting at all. But yeah, long story short here, apparently they're significantly raising their AI chip production, and their Mala next-gen 300 AI chip that's set to be unveiled here in September. So MSFT in focus, also in focus here, but not nearly looking so positive here, is INTC. There were a couple things here with Intel. The main thing with INTC, though, of course, that offering, apparently they're trying to raise $15 billion. But we also had some comments about the U.S. government's investment in Intel from Kevin Hassett, White House economic advisor. So a couple different ways to take this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the S3 shelf registration accompanied by an immediate $15 billion underwritten public offering. That's not typically how it happens. You put the S3 out there and then at some future date, you put the offering. No, it happened basically simultaneously. So the headline report, it often treats these S3s as automatic shelf filings, a standard, sort of passive housekeeping routines. But Intel, as I mentioned, issued the prospectus supplement to execute a massive $15 billion common stock offering with about $2.25 billion underwriter green shoe options. So that essentially that converts a theoretical overhang into an immediate market dilution. A little bit more than $5 billion shares is what the float is now. But what's authorized is about 10 billion. So they've only used about half of what's authorized. So that kind of leaves existing shareholders with no preemptive rights under their corporate charter to protect against dilution. That was part of the deal they struck with the U.S. government. So that will be something you'll have to focus on if you do want to invest in this company. And then there's also that 50 million blank check preferred share registration. So beyond the common stock, the registration encompasses up to 50 million authorized preferred shares with 0 currently outstanding. That gives management the structural capacity to issue these convertible or kind of targeted preferred stocks if volatile market conditions hinder the straight equity absorption. So just more, technicalities here as they try to raise money for their foundries, Adara.
Yeah, so here with the INTC as well, you had some comments from Kevin Hassett. He basically said it's going to be up to President Trump when the government wants to sell the stake. So I guess my question here, Sharif, obviously we're still well above from where they got involved here in INTC. We're also below the highs. So do you think this thing where maybe we'll get a sell announcement sooner rather than later? Because previously Kevin Hassett said he doesn't think the government should hold it too long.
Well, why do you think they'd want to sell, though?
I don't know. I'm just saying Kevin Hassett indicated that when they do this, it'll be up to Trump. And he said previously that it could be sooner rather than later. I think they're concerned about the whole view of, as he said this morning, socialist holding of Intel. I
see. So like the more the concern that the government now is taking equity stakes. I don't know, Adara. I feel like that's happening a lot more. You're seeing it in critical minerals. You could see it in different areas of the economy as well. I don't think that they're going to be in a rush to sell unless there is some sort of, technical reason that they need to, or there is. See, to me, you take a bigger stake in Intel here because they require more money. If they're not going to find that money from the private market, then I think we could definitely see some more U.S. involvement. Like to me, this area is as important as defense. When you say chips now, you're putting that on the same level as defense. So if there's going to be, government subsidy for space, for defense, for rockets, for weaponry, there has to be sort of that simultaneous help for chips. I don't see the U.S. government needing to sell here. That's just my opinion.
You know, that's a good point, and I think we'll have to wait and see how that plays out because the defense aspect of this could be a reason for them to hold. Keep an eye on MRVL as well. This is also moving higher, potentially in connection to that Microsoft story of their ramping up their new Maya 300 AI chips. I have not seen any individual catalyst here for MRVL, but a lot of times when you get stories about these Mag 7s with their own chips, Marvell can be moving in tandem with that. Back to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody might have had a hint at this Intel thing and was selling shares in front of 103 all week long. So, you know, it is what it is, but every single day, effectively last week, except for Monday, that it was even close to 103, that was a top, and it just couldn't seem to go any further. It literally failed to break 2 days in a row, Thursday and Friday. And the 100 level would have been a clean flat bottom break if it didn't already happen on that news. So I like that 100 for a bit of a shelf. Like if we try to bounce back, I'm gonna look at the 100 level as the short, and then the 103 also stands as obvious. But it just, when you see a stock that tries to be strong and then just keeps running into the same shelf every single time for the entirety of the week, usually something comes out after. Maybe it's insider selling, sometimes it's a story that pops on Monday. So yeah, I'm gonna look for that 100 level and the 103.
Yeah, as soon as we heard that Microsoft news, I immediately went over to Marvell and even talked about Marvell, and then the pop out right now as you know, these guys are the brains behind. There's Coherent, there's Light, LITE, but I really like what Marvell's been doing, and it's been holding this 210 area for a week or so. So this could be something here where Marvell gets going, trying to break through this 230 level and then get back up to the upside. So that'd be nice to see. We also did have a nice little comeback recently in Palantir as well, back up to 170 for PLTR and 172 actually there on Friday. I was saying, like, it's funny because we had that one down day right there when I thought Palantir was going to have that extension similarly to Microsoft, and it has, from 120 back up to 170 right now. But that's some of the levels that we were thinking about. Probably go back in, see if we can sell a little bit more Palantir. We're getting into that next little area. We did sell some at 160. We got a 157.69. We did that on that one of those first days upside, just in case it fell back in. It hasn't. So now up to 170. I still like me some Palantir. But we're on Intel right now. So for me on Intel, and the top two names on there, no surprise, are going to be on the sticky note for myself there today. There it is right here, Intel, 101 to 100, 100 to 101 VWAP short, or was the 200 period moving average. This is not, yeah, or VWAP short. Okay, good. Glad we talked about that there. So yeah, because VWAP right now is $98. So let's wait to see. Like we could just jump up and start to short it right there, and that could come in. Or if we just take it, like we're not gonna do anything for the first 5 minutes. So if we rip back up here on some of this news, maybe they're not selling, maybe they are selling, maybe Hassett's not right, maybe Trump comes out and says, "What are you, crazy? We're holding Intel forever." Then maybe you get a little bit more of a bump there on INTC. But if the sell pressure does continue to come in for Intel, then yeah, we'll have to use VWAP. So for right now, looking at VWAP, $98. Again, won't take it early. Could get some early market moving imbalances. That happens, then I'm looking to short Intel at the closing prices from Friday. So that's going to be my take there on Intel, and it is one of three names on today's note for me. So Intel to the downside. Go check it out there on X and soon to be up on Instagram. So that's what's happening right now. But all right, let's go back over Meta, the least exciting Mag 7 name for me. But let's go find out what the story is on Meta.
Well, one of the stories here, I mean, they have this Muse Glimmer release. You also had a pretty long letter here by Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, or at least he took credit for the letter that was posted to the company's website, kind of about their vision for AI going forward, and also some things that they think need to happen as well, including better cooperation between the U.S. government and some of these frontier AI models. So it was actually a pretty interesting look here, Sharif.
Yeah, Dara, we're getting a lot closer to like an FDA. Or an SEC, whatever you want to call it, a governing regulatory body for frontier AI models. It's coming. It's going to come sooner rather than later, at least in my opinion. So let's talk about this Muse Glimmer. It's a 30 billion parameter. It's an open weight agentic model. We'll get to that in a second. And it's distilled entirely. We always talk about distillation as, you know, being used by the Chinese to steal some of these frontier models, you know, the training, but this was actually purposely done. So it was distilled from USpark 1.2, runs locally on a single GPU, hence why it's 30 billion parameters, not 30 trillion. Zuckerberg's also 14-page manifesto. He called for relaxed US AI regulations in the face, of course, of Chinese competition. But look, Adara, this is interesting. So Meta internally here, in an unprecedented power structural shift. He said now in his 6,500 word essay that future open weight model releases will no longer be decided solely by Meta's management. It's actually going to be decided by a governing board, which will have oversight, power. And basically it's going to review safety and it's going to have veto power over the public weight releases for some of these models. But this distillation push here, was quite interesting. In Zuck's his little manifesto there, his little essay, he kind of pounded the table about how some American companies, Hugging Face specifically is who he spoke about here. What Hugging Face had to do was it had to go and use Kimi. And it used Kimi because when it tried to use Fable or Mythos to fix its own its own legacy systems, it was prevented. It was told by Fable and it was told by Mythos, I can't do that because you're asking me to exploit legacy software. So in the way that it was trying to get it to protect its own software, that same function could be used to exploit software. So Hugging Face was forced to go download Kimi, put it on an open weight on its own servers, and then fix the exploit. That's an untenable position where we're using Chinese open weight models to fix American sort of legacy software. So this is, I think it makes a lot of sense from Zuck to say this. He's not the first person to say something like this, but we don't really have a solution.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think that regulatory solution that you said, that could be an interesting look here for AI. But in the meantime, though, for today, is Meta on either of your radars?
Well, I think with Meta, kind of like here, you want to make sure you eat your food before these flies get to it. I think you want to make sure you get your profits before the sellers get to it on Meta. And we could just be getting started finally over $600 today. All last week, we had talked about that failure to really do anything above the $600 level. It was Wednesday. It right away, like right off the open, failed the 600 break. And all we're doing is cresting above that here. So if we can hold 600 off the open, this has a great chance to see the 200 period moving average, which is downward sloping, which tells you everything you need to know about how it's been for Meta in just a little bit. But the key is holding that 600. If the first thing that happens is a failure of 6 bills again, well then welcome to the normal and the 580. So this is one, observe the open range. Make sure that it's holding above that $600 level. It gave it up so fast on Wednesday. And then even when things were trying to bounce, it was just very sideways underneath. And that 600 held almost to the penny Friday morning as well. So that's your key price level. For now, it's over, but I'm not terribly bullish on it, so I won't be looking for the buy there.
And so it's like, look, Meta just came right into these levels like a few times now, like 3 times in a row, bless you, where you could be long at 540 and just wait for this kind of a play. So I think it's prudent to see about waiting again. I mean, anytime there's a negative story, we seem to be able to bounce off those areas. But if you like the stories behind Meta and everything that they've created here, then yeah, it's probably a decent buy. I mean, you're not buying it too high, you're not buying it too low. You're kind of just stuck in the middle. That's the whole point of the 50-period moving average. So, it's had its moments underneath and it's had its moments above the 50-period. So right now, maybe we're into that next little realm here where we get back to the upside. And if the Nasdaq's going to keep up with the rest of the market and take out new highs incoming, then I think it's going to have to be on the back of the Mag 7 names, right? And so Meta probably works here back up to the upside now. If we, like we were just saying, if we can hold this 600 marker, looks like a good positive day coming in for Meta. So let's see if we get that boost there. 540, 520, good holds. You got an opportunity back in March. You got an opportunity there in late June. You got an opportunity right now in late July, early August to buy those dips. So I don't think you miss the move right here to get a little long if you like the story. Buying down here around 600 as opposed to 540 is going to suck. It's only 10% difference, but at the end of the day, positioning is everything, and the price you get matters a lot. So I would rather wait for Meta and just say, hey, you know what, this like 13% up or whatever in a week and a half may be overdone, but that doesn't stop stocks from going higher, right? I mean, we've seen, what do we have next? Monday, okay. So we've seen Microsoft with their continued rally too, you know, so you could have said the same thing, like, oh, maybe we rally up to the 200 and we eventually stop, but that just kept on extending itself and now trying to break out even more here on Microsoft. So maybe Meta does wind up holding right into their 50 period and then start to climb higher. Microsoft gave you similar opportunity in March and then again in late July to buy these dips. That was 350 in Microsoft, unbelievable, up to 501 there. Just these Mag 7s are just such a good trigger point. Like they can pull so many different levers that you never know what that next story is going to be and if it's going to trigger an upgrade or a downgrade or whatever. Look at the Mag 7 off the top right here, $71. You're not too far away now. 69.71. So if you just believed in the mags, then you're laughing all the way there up to $71 here. So yeah, checking that out. We'll have SpaceX coming soon. Let's go find the story about Monday with only 5 more minutes left until the imbalances.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough Monday here for MNDY. Some might even say a manic Monday here for this one to the downside. Adjusted EPS and sales beating estimates. Q3 guidance, though, a little bit of an issue here, as well as fiscal year guidance for MNDY.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think it was definitely the guidance that sent this one down because a lot of the report was good. Earnings beat $364 and 2/3 million on the quarter. That's up 22%. That beats estimates. Their non-GAAP EPS of $1.48, well ahead of the $1.11 expected by the street. That drove record non-GAAP operating income, $61.1 million. But the guide, Adara, as you alluded to, management's Q3 full year 2026 guide of $368 to $370 million. That signals a growth rate of 16 to 17%. What were they growing at last year on the quarter? 22%. That's no good. So that's the problem there. They did incorporate 100 to 200 basis points for what they're calling a Forex headwind. But look, I mean, Adara, we talk a lot about AI kind of cannibalizing some of these SaaS names, but when you look at their actual earnings, their AI products, they contributed 17% of their ARR, their annual recurring revenue. That's their largest line increase right there. So even though we keep talking about AI hurting SaaS, the numbers show a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's an interesting look here for MNDY. Is the same on focus for you guys on this Monday morning?
MNDY. Yeah, for me, not really. I've don't really trade this name too much and haven't really, looked at it too extensively there. But, it doesn't mean just because I'm not looking at it doesn't mean someone else isn't. We did come up into that 200 period moving average and then basically stalled right on top of it at $102. So, it looked like a breakout. Looks like now maybe a false breakout into that $100 mark. So I would say you stay short this name until we break back above. I mean, it looks like it was pretty obvious there. The break down into 70, maybe it's on again. So you just come right back into this level. Looks like a great area to short, when you look back at it. Obviously, hindsight with it being down 12%, but coming back into this $96, $97 marker, looks like it wants to reject that. So your next level is bouncing off right now. That's $80 or so, trying to bounce off that. And then, lower after that, we go for MNDY. It's actually good volume, 500,000 shares, decent spread rate here. But like I said, we'll wait for a couple minutes and see what those imbalances eventually look like.
I think it's got it has a potential 86 level as well because, like Sean said, the resistance was there. So unless you were, sort of hanging out in the pre-market and just waiting for the report to be able to short that top, I don't think you get it. But Thursday's support at 86 does provide you a little something. You had a close there to end the week 2 weeks ago, and then you had a support level. And then in the pre-market already, that seems to be where the first bounce has failed, and it's also around that volume-weighted average price. So that seems like a nice little continuation spot for the short. But yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get away with a poor guide in this market. It's just not gonna happen. So I'd be favoring the short here. But that 86 level does seem to be a bit of a key. Intel's catching a bit of a bid to the upside. Oh, I guess the Nasdaq's going as well. Intel back at 98, a couple of bucks off the low. But I looked over and the Nasdaq was bouncing alongside it. SpaceX is also getting a tiny bounce, still up 2%, but had been selling, which is something it wasn't doing much of to end the week.
Yeah, SPCX is going to be in focus here. A couple different reasons. We know on Friday, though, right before the bell, we get news there. Cursor acquisition could be happening sooner rather than later. There was also an interesting note here from Vanda Research on retail investors apparently selling more than they were previously.
Exactly, and that was for the first time on Friday where retail sold. There was about $4.5 million in net outflows, and the assessment is that came from retail, but was entirely absorbed, Adara, by the structural price-insensitive buying by some of these passive index funds, MSCI, ACWI. They provided massive institutional liquidity, absorbed all the net selling of retail, despite the tight 4% give or take float that we have out there. But look, Elon, he made some pronouncements on the call. $100 billion ARR by the end of the year. Are you serious? Right? I mean, obviously, we're talking a lot about EWS here. In case you don't know what I'm alluding to, I joke about this. Elon Web Services. He's now renting out compute to Anthropic, to Google, and analysts expect that to continue to expand. The problem is, does he do that and then cannibalize his frontier model? I'll submit to you that he doesn't. And this is something that I think is in the works. He alluded to it. Adara just alluded to it as well. The acquisition of Cursor was not just out of nowhere. It was to take on Codex. It was to take on Claude Code. Let's see how they do it here.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and find out. We'll also have to wait and find out how these earnings names after the bell fare. I just want to kind of tease this out here, guys, because we have some interesting ones. I think for a lot of retail investors that are going to be reporting after the bell, you've got Plug Power at 4, Archer, QUBT, Hims and Hers, and Rocket Labs at 4:05, and then ASTS at 4:30 p.m. So lots of interesting stuff here down the pipeline when it comes to earnings tonight after the bell. And again, throughout the week as well, there will be some interesting stuff. You've got CoreWeave, SMCI tomorrow, Cerberus, I believe, on Wednesday alongside Cisco. There's going to be a lot of stuff to keep an eye on for earnings this week, even though the market games are mostly done with the exception of NVIDIA. Good luck at the bell.
Thank you there, Adara. Yeah, so after the bell, it'll be the smaller space names that are on the mind, but that's after the bell. Before the bell here, it's going to be SpaceX. You've already seen it. Look, first of all, we tagged $140. And one thing that we haven't always been doing with SpaceX, which is it's worthwhile, is just have a look at what happens in the overnight sessions, oftentimes with this. So you'll get some crazy, obvious, ridiculous levels that'll be out there. But overnight, it started out with a bit of a buy, and then it got to the 137 area, and then basically couldn't do anything with it after the fact. And then you look at it here, that's exactly where we broke out from. So there was your key 137. It was a breakout in the pre-market there, and now we're hanging again underneath. So I like the 131, which was the prior high, this into here for some dip levels. But another way to play this is to see that 37, and if you're holding above, then be okay with the trend above there to maybe take out that 140. I just feel like this little relief rally, the 149, 150 level seems to be in the gears. And that would be it opened at 149, and the IPO open price, and that's where the flat bottom break was. So that's one spot for it to be able to get to. Ignore the 50 period here. I don't know how much credence we want to give to it, but it has ridden that for a while. As well. So that can be worth a watch at the 140, but it's 131 on the dip. And then 37 is more of a, hey, if we're holding that after the open range and there was no dip, then play that level.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's not rocket science how to play SpaceX. I mean, we were hella long on Friday, was the #1 stock again. We bought some 118s, 119s. This was as of 10:30. It was 127, and we had already ripped it about $8 or $9 at that point. And then you saw where it closed, up to 132, 133. So for me today, man, I mean, I've been trading SpaceX every day. Shout out to Kevin O'Leary as well for reposting some of the nice talks that we had with him as well. But there's SpaceX 130 to 132 long. I'm already there. So hopefully it will come back in and give us that opportunity to trade SpaceX one more time. It's been, like I said, the top stock for a while around here. We really like trading some SpaceX. So let's continue to watch out for that up to 140. And of course, IPO pricing at 150. Could we get back up to there? Yes, we can. We might be there sooner rather than later. Everybody that was so nervous about that lockup there. We had Michael Noss come on earlier, talk about lockups, but it's all hindsight, right? We were talking about that before even the lockup had happened, that I thought that there was a good chance for it to be bullish territory, but didn't buy anything down there. But it's nice to see. So a couple big middle fingers to the shorts, as we know that Elon and company have fun doing that. And it could fade out let's just wait, man. I mean, I think this one has a lot of machines on it, so we'll wait to see when it turns off or on again, when that spigot goes. All right, so Apple, all right, I mean, look, I couldn't say it anymore. Like, I wanted the short there in Apple, and, you know, was talking about it. It's the number 2 trade on there, so I have to wait for Apple, but it just dumped off 309 pretty aggressively, and we said we would show you some of the imbalances. So I guess Apple probably came as a buy or sell. SpaceX is sell right there as well. No other major names on here. IBIT with a small sell. That's not doing a whole heck of a lot into that number, so it's just going to be an Apple story early, or SpaceX story, early. There's Blaze, by the way. What's up, Blaze? Hopefully it's blazing new highs. We'll watch out for SpaceX here as we get ready to open up. Only 5 seconds left. We want to thank you all for joining us right now, and there it is. It is your opening bell, the fake opening bell coming through. Okay, still watching out for Intel. Intel's going to be a good short call, hopefully, for us as well at some point. SpaceX watching, waiting for 131. Intel is starting to get its mojo back a little bit. Got going up to 98 off of a 96 low. Wow. Okay, 98 there for Intel. I was waiting for 100 or 101, but also did mention some VWAP. So a little early to get involved now for some of these names as we're just 30 seconds in, but Intel making lows right now as we just spiked up to 98.50 all the way back down into 97 right now for Intel. So that's an interesting name for sure. SpaceX shares still going higher here.
Yeah, and just a reminder, Marvell is bouncing. So up, someone just said, what's going on with Marvell? You had Marvell bouncing on that Microsoft story. And so Softy as well. Softy was looking really strong. Now it's at 507. So that's squeezing higher on Microsoft, going absolutely ham. And then there was a super chat we got from Tisha Perkins about Socket. I believe it was about Socket. I thought that was about to show up. I guess we're not going to show it. But it is halted, instantly halted here is SCKT, indicating, I don't have a, okay, that's crazy. I don't really have a crazy candle or anything, but it's indicating a 269 open. I'm seeing it as halted, like there, I can show you, it's grayed out, but I don't even have any movement off of the open. Maybe my chart's just lagging a little bit. So please go over the scalp, not a long-term hold. Those small cappers usually are on Socket, but this one will be open in about 5 minutes or so. As I guess that's just going to keep ringing the register, hopefully for people.
Yeah, you see this Palantir is ringing the register for your boy too. I don't have it in this account, but we've got a hell of a lot of these shares in our own account. But there it goes, man. Nicely cooking again. It's not huge, up 1%, not bad. Starting to go and really started to go there off the open, 169 up to 173. It was red, so this was a name that we are looking for as a short possible trade there for Palantir. That just didn't come through today, that's for sure. Only short because we were underneath, but now we've really started to break higher there. Apple getting slappled to the downside right now. Like, this is just whack. Down 3% right now for Apple. And again, like all the things we thought about happening is happening. Just, we didn't get too much action on a bounce back, right? You had to be short early on Intel, short early now on Apple and SpaceX. Although we like the long on SpaceX, it's not really doing anything right now. I mean, to take that pre-market low of 134 would have been pretty brave, I think, and I still think it is. So you got to give it just a little bit of time. DRAM, I mean, we did see Marvell going, so we say for Marvell, it's going to be a good stock as well. But here goes DRAM, finally starting to get going a little bit here. We can check out some of the indicators of DRAM and AMD. We can check out some Micron, see what's going on. AMD is still down. That could be a good. I mean, look, I'm so glad that we sold off of some of our AMD. That's for
These
sure.
chips are blasting.
Which name? Oh, SMCI is.
No,
yeah, AMD's down.
I mean, chips in general.
Okay, the two that I'm looking at right now, not blasting, but maybe SMCI.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
SMCI is blasting higher. It's up like 6%. I just looked over at ARM's not doing a darn thing. Obviously, it's a bit gone through the breakout level, but VWAP is sitting at 32.5. Kind of hard to see. I can draw this over, but it's kind of hard to see. VWAP will be at 32.5 after that initial bounce up, but it's also the pre-market high. 32.60 was also a big breakout level. SpaceX is now falling into the low 130s. Just tagged 132. Intel's back.
Oh, is it?
Back on the block.
Oh, Intel, yeah.
He's back above VWAP. It just went into 99. Maybe it's not going to get to that 100. It just tagged 99 even and then dipped back in. Instead of waiting for a round number, just should have respected this resistance at 99 from the pre-market. That is dropping pretty heavily here. So yeah, even the Nasdaq, the market just did a bit of a turn as well. So the Nasdaq holding into the red. I'm going to try and get Intel off that volume weighted average price if we can. Is that could be the first opportunity. And no, don't tell me that Hertz is squeezing. So Hertz had earnings, well, not today, but Hertz had earnings last week and then tried to continue on Friday. Its squeeze did nothing. So this one is, it's a heavy shortfall. I think it was 72% or so. And then strong earnings name. Could get a bit of a continuation. It was 270 that it rejected on Friday. So keep an eye on that. If you're a small cap trader or just a gapper trader, there should be one that you like.
Yeah, Berkshire going hard right now, up 2%. We definitely like that Berkshire. Neil just said, try to take Intel off VWAP. Yeah, we posted that a while ago. I think I'm with him. Let's go back over and check out what's going on with Intel over at VWAP at some point. I was looking at Palantir and thinking about taking along through that 175, but now it's just come right back in. So I still have that order to go at 175, but we are bouncing a little bit off VWAP right now of 172 and change. So let's give it a little bit of go here. And if we do wind up breaking back down below this 172, then we're going to get out of Palantir. So we'll try it just, lightly here, little bit, half a unit up. Okay, well, that half a unit just out to the, there it goes, man. Let's see what winds up happening now with Palantir. First trade is on right now. It's Palantir. It's long at 172.50s. Let's give this a little bit of a go and see where Palantir can go upside right now. Long 172.50 now on PLTR, off of what we say all the time. It's off of VWAP, and there it goes, man. Back into your first club member there today is Palantir, as it gets a dollar club and more than that right now. Wow, there goes Palantir. The one trade wonder right there for PLTR upside and still going. So that was good. So there we go. Buy Palantir off of VWAP, and let's see where it goes now. Let's let this see if it can break 175. That should be my next out. So let's give it a little bit of room until 175 comes through there on PLTR. So did you get that intel yet? What's going on over there?
It won't bounce.
No, it won't bounce.
The problem is it's not really going higher, so we're still on the offer. We're just not getting any fills up here around $98.50. If it closes, look, it hasn't really, there we go. Now it's just shot even further. I might just have to take the even dollar if we're even able to get this one. It's looking incredibly weak. And while we're trying to grab that and SMCI on the dip, SpaceX just caught its bid. You can only look at one at a time. SpaceX didn't quite get down to 131. I guess it kind of did. It got pretty darn close to this 131 even, but the V shape is already coming in here on SpaceX and looking to be pretty heavy. It's Intel, the one that we're trying to sit on here. Underneath VWAP, you're going to see it bounce lower, looking pretty. It's looking weak, but then so is the market. Like, the market's underneath the lows. That's why I don't want to chase this SMCI move at all. It's more about snagging in, hopefully, to some kind of a short here. And if we have to get SMCI at 32.3, I think that's going to be a bit of a better price. Give me a break. Every time we offer, it just shoots down another like $0.50 there on Intel. Yeah. This NASDAQ is trying to lose the bid. Like, what's holding us up here in the market? SpaceX doesn't care. That's not doing much of anything.
No, SpaceX, Palantir. But like we had said earlier, though, like on our tweet there, on our sticky note, that we are going to look for Intel in and around VWAP. So it's right here, right now. So we'll have a quick look at that. Yeah, so I took some more out. We got to 174.50, so we do take something out there at 174. I'm still trying to give this to 172 break. So if it breaks 172, it's already 3-to-1 risk to reward. So some people were asking about how do I trade, or what the ratio looks like. It's kind of just on feeling, right? I mean, when I see these kind of levels come through, I'll always be mad if we get out, but sometimes you got to. So in and out. So we still, for me right here, still have close to 75%. I was gonna say 75% of this trade still on board right now. Yeah, SpaceX making a move lower here a little bit. We can wait to see if it does come in. Oops, SpaceX not in blue ocean. We'll go in to right here into the NASDAQ. Yeah, so coming back in, let me wait to see what happens. Our bid's still 130s flat. I did say I didn't mind a 131 for SpaceX, which is coming back in. Let's try a little bit. 131, 75. We'll try a little bit down there for SpaceX. I don't know. I mean, look, we're ways away from that right now. We'll see if it eventually comes through 131.75. That's that low rate there. So we actually did have a bid initially there and canceled it, like I was just saying, because of that move back in. But you know, if we're going to stick with our note, which we should try to do a little bit, SpaceX 130 to 132 long. So we could actually, that low of the day already hit. So if you were following this, and I should have been doing it myself, we'd already be long 132, and then it ripped huge to the upside there to 135. So, you know, just be careful with it. There it goes right there. It's now $2 plus on Palantir. So we've already made, there it is, man. People say we should increase our daily goal, but why would we do that? I mean, we're making the goals right here, so it's all good. Now we can just kind of relax. Look at that push down just off of 175, pretty aggressively there. Let's take some more out at 130, 74.30s there on Palantirs. It's just come right back in there. So, wow, okay. That's just how fast. You know, we were at our goal, and then it just came right back in again. So, but we did get a 175, so that's good. Now let's see where we go from here on SpaceX. Yeah, maybe SoFi, some people talking about. I don't know.
SoFi in play. I saw a lot. I saw some SoFi. I saw some Robinhood also in the chat. We didn't really look at the financials. I mean, Intel still didn't really get anything above the 98 level, but we are tracking toward the pre-market low, which was all the way at $96. So that's where we're going to be on the bid. I no longer am in love with SMCI at these levels, like, because look, it's just a false breakout. You either had the breakout or you didn't, and you got to make some kind of a new low. Like, the market is falling back, and it's falling back heavily. So you got to find something different. Like, the pre-market low sat here at 31.6. Sorry, those are bad dark pool wicks. 31.6 is the pre-market low. That's where we're going to wait for sure on SMCI. And you know what? If Hertz wants to squeeze, and this one's on the radar, it wasn't before, it is now. You had all kinds of resistance at $22.40 on Friday. Well, that can turn into support above, guess what? The volume weighted average price. So Hertz is on the radar because of that crazy short float. You got to be able to respect it for sure. And then just for the small cap traders out there, that Socket, SCKT, Socket Mobile, the tap is, so like this still hasn't really done much of anything, but the tap is $2.10. So it halted again at 937, which is weird because I'm not, like, it's weird. Like, I'm not seeing some of the printing, I guess, with this stock. I must have a bad chart or something. But I'm getting indicated open of 210 for Socket, looking pretty nasty, unfortunately, for anyone that might be trapped in it. That's a pretty significant, like, 25% move down on the reopen potentially for Socket. So good luck to anyone that might be caught in that one long. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, there isn't a whole heck of a lot going on. AUUD as far as maybe a bigger float, bigger share size name, small float, 89 million shares today for AUUD. Let me know if there's anything else you guys are looking at from that side of things. I'm trying to get some more 175s. I'm actually at 80s right now, 174.80. There it is for $2. So that's turning out pretty good right there as now we get back into the upside. Let's go. We're still waiting for a little bit of an out. I still have 60%. Yes, sir. There it is, man. Let's go, man. A little bit of an early 50 coming today. So get ready, guys. There it is. We did it again right now. So it's a good move here for Palantir up through 175 and now getting going. So here we go. What's up, Kevin Mendoza and everybody else that's here again. You always think you can't, I think like I can't do it, but then we come in and it just happens again, right? It's like it's so hard because like I trust the levels I write down, but at the same time, it's like it's nerve-wracking there. And I think the example I'm trying to use here would be SpaceX on that front, right? I mean, we had written down a couple times there, the 132 to 130, 130 to 132, and came down and hit many times. And now it's all the way back up to the upside. Just wish we would have trusted that a little bit. The other trade that I have, I know Neil was in there. It looks like it's cashed out, which is good. Intel right there. So that fell perfectly. And again, another note, like that should be another dollar when we write down, you know, what the trades we're looking for. So Intel off VWAP, we noted that one. The only thing that we wouldn't be in yet, as of yet, was Apple, because that short never got going. You know, Intel gave us the trade that we wanted there at 98. So glad Neil had that. SpaceX gave it. We didn't take it. And then Palantir, man, this has been a name that we looked at all last week. And it was really, this has been, Palantir is amazing for a stock right now. Now, it's now $3 in on PLTR. So, hey, man, it is what it is right now, going higher on Palantir. I think your boy is going to get ready to get into his account and cash some more out right now on Palantir, because we're getting into these levels now of 180 and change for PLTR. So congratulations to everybody that sort of took some advice there, buying something in the low 120s there. Huge move up for Palantir. So yeah, and then we can check out USO. I mean, there hasn't been
grinding.
Much, yeah, grinding higher, so up another 4% right there. Glad we loaded up the truck over the weekend. Got some good gas prices coming through. Wow, now you're $4 right now. What a move, guys. Well, hope you guys are trading options or a little bit longer time frame here, because there goes Palantir now, $4 straight fire in the booth off of VWAP, goes upside there for PLTR. Now day and a half goal net, so maybe take tomorrow half day off.
Yeah, why not? Good one there. And like I said, well, you mentioned already, but Intel came out. It hit that low. They're just looking at MP materials. Sorry, everybody. That's one thing we probably should have at least alluded to, but there is some serious strength in all of the critical metals and rare earths this morning, and MP doing the same thing. So it bounced off the even dollar. This gets back to VWAP. We're looking to reload, but we're into SMCI on the dip. It bounced hard off of 32. Here, it was looking for 31.6. Like I said, $31.60 was the pre-market low. It bounced hard and is breaking out through the volume weighted average price, or back through, I should say, the volume weighted average price. So I'm just going to look for this to play back into 33. So pre-market highs, back through VWAP. Want to see this one get back into 33. So SMCI, it's on the radar for myself. I mean, obviously they report this week, but wasn't on the watch list or anything. It was just a stock that we liked for a potential break. HPE was at least there, like Hewlett-Packard, but that's doing absolutely nothing. So got SMCI to the long side. That hurts. Unfortunately, does not hold VWAP. It gets to VWAP. It loses VWAP. So unfortunately, the Hertz squeeze is going to have to wait another day. It's just not going to be today for them. Once we close above the volume weighted average price on SMCI, that'll be a place to look to add as we get potentially into that 33 level. And Tron, ACHR had news this morning with, it was like a Boeing, I want to say tie-up or partnership, but it was a Boeing. Dara, you have these.
Yeah, they basically
right?
acquired, I think, 3 of Boeing's assets, mostly in the aerospace and I believe maybe the eVTOL space. Boeing's also taking an equity stake in ACHR, and ACHR reports earnings after the bell. I already have our TTV research earnings preview for ACHR available on X TTV research. Yeah,
the stake's probably the big thing, and of course, remember ACHR, of course, has a short float to deal with as well, so that is looking pretty strong for a bit of a gapper, holding the volume weighted average price. Instead of Hertz, this could be one of some interest.
All right. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a good time. All right, what else does everybody want to do? Let's just do this first of all, because I want to say hi to everybody that is here. So we're going to pop out our chat right here and have a quick little look. If you could put that up, Andre, if you have a quick second, there it is right now. So let's say hi to everybody that's here. And I just want to say, hope you got some of the trades that we've been putting on over here right now. Long SMCI right now and long Palantir. So, hey, guys, a big shout out to Bruce over there. Casey, what's up, Casey? I love that. My favorite part of the muffin is also the top. What's up, Chris? Amare there from TikTok. Landon from TikTok. Yeti from TikTok as well. Fox Gaming is here. Byron Hart is here. Ronaldo is here. Chazdes, Crouching Tiger Hidden Rally is here. Yo, says Chris as well. Yo, what's up, my guy? What's up to John and Swirling Brain? Yeah, that's always a good one. My brain seems to be doing that more often than not. What's up, Solar Tech? Grigor One Life there as well. And Solar Tech-wise, Hangry Wife, and Elon Musk is here as well. What's up to Jay Brunson? Nice to see you guys in Chronic Diatonic. There, Pattern Keys. Shout.
Chronic
shout
Diatonic?
To all of y'all. There, yeah, I saw someone named that there in the chat. There's always get some very, very interesting.
Speaking of the Chronic
names in there right now. Yeah, just Blaze.
No, that dude is the one dude they got for Pac. Is I think he's getting.
What,
he's going down. Well, there was like one dude, the one that provided the gun or whatever.
Oh, you Puff Daddy?
Look, it's the craziest thing that, of course, like they find like one lackey. What? It's on TV. Andre just said it's on TV, but whatever.
What?
You know,
did they finally arrest?
Yeah, there's one guy getting prosecuted for
poor
it.
guy.
Apparently, he just provided the weapon that got Tupac. Pac's a legend. I had a lot of stuff suggested in my YouTube this weekend, and it was all like Pac from Juice, Pac from this, that. I don't know why. Like I wasn't talking about him or anything. So I don't know if the AI was listening in. Yeah, talk's on the mind. Maybe cannabis is on the mind for you. I don't think it should be. It's got to be this Hertz or this Archer if we're going to get a squeeze play. And this socket trade, socket mobile, it did open up lower and is halted again. So this is now halted like 3 times in a row. So down at 208 and it's tapping a 178. So socket is like dead, unfortunately, 440%, and it's going to lose VWAP almost immediately here. So yeah, sorry about that one, but what can you do? Like, we can't really control how the small cappers go. You can want it to go, but sometimes the best prices you're going to get are going to be in the pre-market. And then when the market opens up, you got to look somewhere else. So SMCI, I have the quarters offering out, but when I zoom out, it is a bit of a blue sky setup. I say a bit, but look at the daily chart. There is some resistance sitting out here when you get to like 33 and change. So that's what we're trying to offer out in front. Maybe play some dip buys in there. And we have a super chat from Paul Cabo, if we can throw it up there. See, this is a problem with Meta. Remember the 600 level? I just don't trust it. You need to see buyers after the open. It's one thing to gap above 600 in the pre-market, but if it just instantaneously can't hold $600, which has been a problem for the last couple of weeks, short or dip, well, I mean, it bounced in the 580s on Thursday and Friday, like 585 almost exactly. So I think at least that's something if you're bullish about the story this morning. But the problem is usual. 600, failures above 600 on the stock. Hopefully it can hold some kind of a higher low. It's in the semi-doghouse. You even get good news and it can't go. If you can't rally on positive news, or at least hold gains on positive news, then it's still in the doghouse.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, a name that seems to be in the doghouse here is going to be Apple as well. Like, I mean, not being able to get going either here today. Remember, the NASDAQ is still just in its little rut hanging out right now. So let's wait to see what the NASDAQ go. I mean, I keep on getting out of Palantir here, wondering if 177 has been the top. So right now, 30% left. It's too bad. Like, it's too bad we didn't trust ourselves a little bit more on that VWAP trade because we only did take half a unit right there. But like I said, man, half a unit's enough to get it going and get us to where we need to be at with that trade. That is for sure. Amazon, a little bit. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about too was a complete reversal in Marvell. Marvell came all the way back right down there. Look at this, like right off the open, bang, tanked pretty hard there off the open. Gets that news going to the upside as Microsoft talking more about their chip game strong. And right now you're seeing Marvell coming back into the downside. I never really thought that was a great story for Marvell, but it did start going there. And we even talked about it, like how is that going to affect, you know, the Broadcoms and whatnot of this world. But here it comes back in Marvell. So still positive on the day, which is better than the index. A name that's been flying around a little bit here. Going to give your boy an opportunity to get out of this very soon is going to be Uber. So that's up to $77 again right now, 78. So definitely looking like this is going to be an exit strategy for me very, very soon. Okay, what's up? Tesla VWAP. So yeah, we can have a quick little look over there at TSLA, of course, on the NASDAQ. And SpaceX back into 132, so that's coming back in just a little bit here as well. So I'd rather look at SpaceX than at Tesla. Yeah, no, I would say like with this market making a move back down in here for TSLA, you're bouncing now. I mean, VWAP's at 138.50. No, I don't think that's a good area to trade off of. It's too much in the middle. So I'd rather a stock run in and back and forth to VWAP. And right now it's there. So you could test along and give it to 328 maybe. So I don't think that that's like a horrible idea to think about right into there. But for me, just too much in the middle there with VWAP. If anything, look what this market's doing. And we are about to get long on SpaceX, and we just did right there. So this is a trade that, you know, we've indicated a couple times here to look at a 132 long. So I waited for 131.75. This is only a very, very small piece here, like not even a quarter of a unit. We just want to give SpaceX down to that 130 because it could easily come off right now. And if it does blast back into that 130 level, do I want to take some of that long? Yes, I do. But we got to be patient for it. So we're going to wait for 130 and a quarter right now. Then we're going to stop out at like 129.75. Like, I don't really want to give this one too much room. Either bounces or it doesn't at some of these levels. And of course, we're talking now about SpaceX. So yeah, that's just a couple of positions for myself. Palantir, you know, we just talked about getting some more out up there. Let's take something out here in the high 20s if we can as well. As this market looks like it's trying to go a little southbound right now.
Yeah, we're heading downside, unfortunately, it seems like. And Zen Zombie is mentioning STKH, which is limit up stakeholder, 20 mil volumes. That's pretty good volume for this sucker. Whoa, halted, sure, up? Well, nope, never mind. It looks like it halted up, and then it halted down into VWAP here. The current tap is 440, so that halted up, opened, halted down, and indicating it is going to open underneath that entire range. I just took a trend out on SMCI. We'll get to that in a quick second, but we're going to go to Adara at the desk first.
Yeah, if you guys have been following this show for a while, you know I look at this type of catalyst pretty quickly or pretty closely, so I was pretty interested in this. Roblox on the move here and on watch after the Ohio Attorney General announces a lawsuit here for RBLX. And we know RBLX was actually called out by Georgia's Attorney General, whose name I believe is Charlie Carr, as of last week. So RBLX continuing to face attention here from these AGs. This is already a company that's facing a lot of existing AG investigations, so this is significant. Back to you.
All right, we did it again. Another 50 center here on SpaceX. So, we just took out 20%. This could still be a dramatic fail down to the downside. I'm getting a little nervous about SpaceX. It had such a nice run there on last week, right? Thursday, Friday, into what people were not expecting. So, potentially here should take maybe even a little bit. Let me take a little bit more out if it comes back up into 132 again. That was a pretty sharp move higher there. I'm at 132.15s right now to get another piece out. Then I'm at 40s again. And if we can hold, back, 50 to 60% maybe for a jog, that'd be good. But otherwise, we still wait for that 130. But just want to indicate a quick little out right there on that one. And there goes Palantir, just touched 177 again. So I think we should put another offer in the 80s, see if we're able to get that, and then just look for something else. We saw last week Walmart was kind of dancing around as positioning not that important here. It's only 111 and change right now for Walmart. So Walmart coming in down to 110 again. I still, forgot about the coffees. Thank you, Rob. Right there as Rob saves the day with a little bit of a coffee as Randy's supervising from home today, I guess. So that's what we're doing right now is just waiting to see if some of these stocks want to move around. We did get all-time highs from JP Morgan recently as well, as Joe brought that to your attention. And again, a big holding in the Wilson Katina Capital realm here with JPM.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. On the rail, thoughts on RTX for a long swing? Oh, we're liking some Raytheon defense, huh? Let's have a look at it. I mean, I haven't looked at Raytheon in at least a little bit, but usually, it's doing exactly the same thing it was the last time I looked at Raytheon, which was in a very clean, distinct, pretty, beautiful, gorgeous upward trend, and it just broke out the top. I mean, what else you can ask for? Typically buying the dips when it's doing this stair step up is the way to go, but breaking out of some all-time highs, I can't hate joining the trend. You just got to be able to do you. Maybe we can use Raytheon to build something that can kill some of the flies around here.
That might be good. Nice. They probably already have.
If they could. I'm sure they got something. It would just be overkill. Unfortunately, they need something a smaller scale. Archer might have something on a smaller scale, but this is the new thing over VWAP. I'll show you. SMCI, we jumped out when it broke trend. It's bounced into VWAP, but I want to try to the market is still figuring itself out. I want to see it hold on. So we've got one bounce, there's a second. I want to see it hold on to this trend before we look at joining it a second time, because 32 is the open range bottom. If we lose VWAP, I want to look at that 32 for an entry on that bad boy. And then Archer is starting to look pretty interesting here. Team up or getting an investment from Boeing, or Boeing taking a stake in Archer in addition. I won't this load. In addition to this gap up, remember they have a decent enough short float. Just held the volume weighted average price and broke this little downtrend that it was in. So I want to buy it back into VWAP with a $6.50 stop on Archer.
All right, so point down. I don't know, man. We only have 2 trades today. Both are dollars plus winners. So we're just going to go 2 for 2, both with dollars. And now this is even going even more. Shout out to all my SpaceXers out there today. It's a slapper coming back in again, up to 133 for SpaceX. Again, we started light, right? I mean, we started light down there. I wasn't sure how far we would go on SPCX, but there it goes. Nice upside trade here for another dollar. right there. I mean, we saw it, we waited, based out a little bit. We didn't even we took it against the base. Like the base kind of started after we had took this trade, which was real nice. So I want to thank everybody for turning on the machines and getting this name cooking again to the upside. So only 2 trades for me today. Pretty simple base, pretty simple what we want to do. SpaceX was the #1 trade on the note today, so of course I'm going to take it long. And it came back in. We came right into the level that we wrote down between 130 to 132. We saw it bounce off this 131.75, 132 area. So we finally take it the last time and it works. So that was good. Good thing we didn't get stopped out of that one. And then the Palantir, I actually like this 175 break right there. But then as soon as I was like, okay, we got a top wick, let's see, pulls right back into VWAP. We tag our good friend, Brian Shannon. He likes chickens and he likes winners. So there's a chicken dinner winner for everybody there, including Brian there as we continue to go higher, though I think he might be vegetarian actually. But
Brian?
I think so maybe. There goes 177 now, back up there. We're looking at that level as a nice little upside take as well. Yeah, let's go, baby. We just need SpaceX, which is, I'm already out of half of SpaceX right now because I told you already I don't trust it. So we'll take that out and wait for that 130 level. Again, what's up, Adara? Nope, okay. All right, so DRAM, wanted to look at DRAM as well. Wow, now we are really starting to go on Palantir. Just busted 177 again. Why isn't DRAM loading? Oh, it's because it's an Amex stock? There it is, DRAM, trying to break through the day's high as well for DRAM. So another looker right there potentially coming through. But yeah, man, there's SpaceX. Yeah, let's go. Let me take one more spot right there in the 50s if we can get it. Perfect. We'll go back in there 1 second. Quick little out there on SpaceX. Hey, man, 2 for 2 in their doozies over here. Neil's got some good ones on as well, obviously. And big successful morning. I hope you guys are having that as well. It's about to get even better, though, as we throw back to the big desk with Adara and one of her updates.
We're happy.
Yeah, let's take a look here at what's happening now so far in today's session. We're about half an hour in, and there's a lot to discuss. Let's talk about the S&P 500. Right now, starting the third 15-minute candle of the day and following off pretty strong performance here to start the day. We are, I guess, kind of around where we closed here, slightly above where we closed on Friday, but well above this pre-market low that we hit here around 771.60s. If you take a look at the Qs, a little bit more, I would say, range-bound than what we're seeing with the SPY, trading much tighter, but the USO just continuing to push to the upside for the most part, getting our first at least semi-pullback as of right now. Let's take a look at our AAPL. This name trying to bounce off of the lows, but still gapping down pretty sharply here. We have a couple different catalysts. For one, they're testing, I guess, memory chips from China's CXMT, specifically for Chinese iPhones and MacBooks, as these memory supply concerns continue to weigh on the company and on the entire industry. We also got a downgrade here on Apple from Jefferies. Then you got INTC. Intel also hanging out near lows here, also near pre-market lows. They announced a $15 billion common stock offering as they try to fund some AI moves. And last but not least, GME, this name initially strong, now giving back that entire upside move. Apparently, Ryan Cohen, according to Bloomberg, is considering pulling his company's big $56 billion bid for eBay, which eBay has rejected already at least once. So interesting look here for GME. Initially, investors like that, but the game appears to be over for GameStop. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to join us every single day as we send you back over to Sean and to Neil.
The game over for GameStop. That's cold-blooded. What's crazy about it is the stock initially ran 3% on that news, and now it's back to where it was before. It can't rally when they're buying them. It can't rally when they're not buying them.
Valid.
What do you think that means, everybody? It can't rally.
Can't rally.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just sad. That's all. I mean, whatever. That's just sad. I thought maybe there could have been something there today with that stock. But anyways, probably a bigger deal for Ryan Cohen's ego than anything else. It doesn't really seem to matter. They didn't care about the deal, so they don't care about the deal when it's not happening. Either. The NASDAQ is clawing back pretty nicely here. I was just trying to figure out why Microsoft is still going and Marvell isn't. That's the one thing that's like we saw the whole further developing their own chip. Microsoft now 1.5 points to the upside. The first thing that Marvell did was sell off, even though it gapped on the same news, and it's trying to now go. So I wonder if that can give us like a second leg, maybe a through the prior day high type of breakout play, just similar to kind of what the NASDAQ is doing here. So Archer, we did jump into this one above VWAP. Want to try to reload it in front of the volume weighted average price and then scalp into the $7 high. Going to respect 7 because we'll look at the daily chart. It's basically tagged $7 twice in the last 3 or 4 months and reversed. So I think that's a good spot to look for play into, and then it needs to break out above $7.10 on ACHR. Let us know what you guys are also watching. I've seen a little bit of IBM. Toby, you don't have to spam the chat. It's all good.
No, he does. He got my attention. I didn't even notice IBM. And
we'll look at it.
There it goes right there, man. Yeah, I'll let us know, because there it goes. IBM really strong off that $200 mark, right? And I was just thinking to myself, like, every time a good company that I own dumps like that, probably a good opportunity to buy. So yeah, man, we already bought. We actually bought down here the first time, let it go all the way back up, and then boom. Right now, it's still not at the 50 period. It's still been a tough road to hoe for anybody that was in around this area, of course, or even up here as we get back into the 200 and into the 50 period moving average. But yeah, really cooking upside now for IBM. I don't know if there was a stock specific story with International Business Machines, but I'll give Adara a couple seconds and she will go in and find out about that.
Could this be software, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Palantir is the boss today.
Nothing on IBM, and all the quantum names reported last week. So
right. Yeah, that's why I didn't even ask you about the quantum situation there. But yeah, man, the biggest trade of the day, and I don't know if it'll be topped. Maybe it will be. We'll find out. But right there, it's Palantir, 175.50 right now, trying to go higher now for PLTR. Good outs for me. So I only now have less than 10% left of Palantir. Just took a piece out now. A little bit worried that it's underneath here. We're going to stop out anyways on a VWAP break, or maybe even 174 as we have less than 10% left. So that would be something to definitely look out for. And here goes SpaceX. Here goes SpaceX. So what's up, Ozan? There it goes up to 133 again for SpaceX. Have 40% of this trade left as well, and that's going to be $1. So far about these two positions, about $5 or so now in the money on these two spots. There goes Palantir back up through 176, so we do get that fill right there. All right, this name just halted. CD opened back up, not doing anything there. That SKCT, Neil mentioned that already. That's now halted again, just 4 or 5 halts in a row to the downside right there. IBM is really the nice one, man. That's really starting to moon a bit. Moon on IBM. Marvell going the other way. TQQ is trying to figure themselves out as well. Now taking out the 200 and trying to get going. So, hey, man, what was dead in the NASDAQ is now alive, which is great for me. I mean, we've got these two longs on, and they're both, relatively attached to the NASDAQ. I'm at the highest spot we've been at all day, just taking these two trades. Battle is squeezing, maybe someone's saying.
With USO going higher.
Yeah, so it's up to Stefan right now. Yeah, good move there for Battle and USO. And just off the bottom there, again, another really low float name, right, in BATL. So we can have just a little quick look over here. BATL, low float, high shorted name, right? We have here short float is 100. I mean, I don't know, 131%.
That's probably
short. So last time we saw that was something like a GameStop situation there. All right, and then here it is. The float is only 4 million shares. So you could see today we're getting close, although the shares aren't necessarily printing like crazy today. But we just indicated where and why this name might be one of the next things that's on your radar to trade with that kind of a short float. So let's keep Battle in mind here, especially with USO doing what it's doing. Look, I'm still right now.
Oh my God.
We're over the moon again. I mean, it's funny because we started out talking about SpaceX, right? And I said, if there's a day that ends in Y, and we just been joking about this for a while, that I'm going to be on SpaceX. This is just what we did on Friday on SpaceX, where we took $11, $12, even for it to even go further than this into the close. We had to empty out our positions around noon when we left. But SpaceX was a long on Friday, and it's looking like it's a long again here today, right off the jump. There's VWAP for SpaceX as well with 131.75. there for SPCX. So yeah, man, so far so good here as the market is rallying to the upside, but not huge, Rallying despite oil
green
going
now,
which is nice. Yeah, it's green.
It is market green finally. The NASDAQ just went green. The ES, yeah, but exactly the same, 0.07%, so barely green. Jason Konitz? Jason Konitz, thank you for the super chat. Way done here in watching G at midnight, SpaceX jump or dump. Watching G at midnight? Okay. Not sure what that means, but SpaceX is jumping right now. If you're asking, you can sort of see with Sean. Well, it does have this at least to look at. Like you go from the pre-market high to like right before the open to the open. It does have a downtrend that it could break and then do an even better move and maybe squeeze into that 140. But the overall trend the last few days has been up, and it just held the lows in here for sure. Just curious as to what watching G is. You watching gold, or is that maybe a typo? Because my guess is it's not whatever this 160,000 volume stock, which is actually G. And speaking of gold, yeah, all that breakout from last week, it's doing absolutely nothing today. But you know what? The market's catching a bit of a bid here. So gold's just going to take a bit of a backseat this morning. It was a great week for gold, especially relative to crypto. It kicked its butt. It even kicked silver's butt at one point yesterday, or on Friday, I should say. But not much here today. Let's go to the left.
Yeah, guys, traders, here's an offer that even your broker isn't giving you. This market has been extremely active lately, to say the least. For traders, this kind of opportunity creates opportunity. Big moves means more setups, means more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and, of course, managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account, no more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please visit tradethepool.com and get that all sorted out immediately. We want to thank Trade the Pool for their continued support of the program.
Immediately.
All right, man. Look, that went to 133.50, right? I was actually at 133.50. The highest it got to was 133.50. So it just got missed there for that dollar take. So I'm going to go to 132.75, start to get out a little bit. I actually just went to 78 there by accident. Sorry, fellas, it's midnight here in Australia. Yeah, it's a typo. It's a sell, or are we holding and going to hell? Is it a sell? A what, SpaceX? No.
Going to hell?
It's definitely not a sell. I mean, you could just follow the way I trade this name. I mean, maybe had one red day or so since it's been opened up. I mean, as far as you're talking about where it's going to go from here, yeah, I mean, I always look to see if you break the day's low, especially at this time of day where we're thinking about going. So I'm actually going to cancel and punch out if we break 131 right now on SpaceX, because we've taken advantage of it. We talked about how much we have left. We have about 20% or so left of this name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 outs, 30% left of this name, 10% each. And then now we'll wait to see if we can get up there. I was waiting at 133.50, but unfortunately it looks like we were 1 or 2 pennies too shy of that. So I would just watch out for this break right there. And if you're talking about longer term, then yeah, I mean, it just bounced off its 50-period moving average. We now have probably close enough to 50 days anyways on this name. So yeah, definitely looking out for that. That's not going to be the most accurate thing, especially in its infancy. But if you look at this, you've come right back up, right into this little shelf area of 140. So we really want to take that before we start to say, hey, let's get into the long like we've missed the bottom. I would say the best thing to do is wait for this 140 to come in. So if that 140 can come in there on SpaceX and hold it for a couple days, then that's when I think you get going. Otherwise, yes, I do think going to hell, I don't know where the stock's eventually going to go, but I do think that we are due for a pullback. That was an epic day. So I think into this 115 to 118 or so area, down into there is probably a space that we wind up visiting one more time. So yeah, huge day now. $4 in the money on Palantir, 70 cents in the money on SpaceX, 2 for 2. Big day, and yeah, big day alert too on as far as the net is concerned. So good way to start the Monday here for what was been a pretty choppy market. Sometimes you just got to pick the winners, and we got some over here today on the show for you guys. So yeah, good trading all around, man, and good trading for you guys in the chat too.
Absolutely, and just want to remind everybody that when you start your trading day and you're looking for good trades, you might want to get a head start with Sharif's daily research note. That's every single day. You get the big stories, levels, trade plans, catalysts, things that we're watching at the open. You're talking about $5 a month. You also get members-only videos, posts, custom emojis, and loyalty badges. That's hitting that membership. It's a really easy process. You literally just click a button. And then for 25 cents a trading day, this is what you get. And we'd like to be able to show you what you're getting in here. You got the meta story. It's going to give you some technicals. It'll give you the news, even a trade setup plan. Apple's caught a downgrade. That'll be there as well. Typically speaking, you're getting double digits. It's 10 pages long today. Sometimes it's 15, not an exact science, but it's all about having that preparation in there. And again, we want to thank everybody that is a member and thank all the gifted memberships. I know KC's been gifting a lot of memberships. Cheese in a chair, my good friend. I'm trading in I don't even know what that. I am BIC parameter today. So backblaze be backblazing, archer be arching, boil be boiling, and marathons be marching. Yeah, boil's moving, by the way. We'll get to that in a quick little second because absolutely you're seeing USO go. Archer it just put in a topping tail before it got to 7. So see like this pullback that it did? This is what's got me sitting in front of the offer. Like it's doing the same thing in here. If we lose 75, I think I'm gonna jump out and then wait for that VWAP. So just wanna trail this one and see if we can't get pushed into this 690 to 70 area because I'm sitting on the offer just looking to be able to get that scalp out. It was really just there's your breakout. There's your consolidation over the breakout level. And now we want to see if we can't get into the high, play off that volume weighted average price. But you're so right about Boyle making some power moves. I mean, typically speaking, it's called the Widowmaker because it's always going down, but 9% up on a gap up and finally putting in a green day. The reality with natural gas, if you don't know, like natural gas production is at ridiculous levels. So there's a ton of supply. So it has been trending down just precipitously. But it can still squeeze. There can be some good rallies. It's a fantastic trading opportunity, especially on Thursdays when they have the number at 10:30. We've seen it break out in either direction. It's been a pretty keen play. I've actually traded it twice and missed it last week. But this is looking really, really good. Just remember, they call it the Widowmaker for a reason. It usually rips people's faces off that try to constantly go long. We got West Palm Beach trades. Love Trader TV. SpaceX riding with you 150 soon. Remember 149, 150 on SpaceX. That was that initial level, right? So it's really just trying to go back home. This is 135, the IPO price, but that 149, 150 was the first level of support that it was able to grab. And a couple of massive updays really is more of a breakout than it is a trend. I know I said it's trending higher off of this 100, but really it's just a couple of massive updays. All it needs to do is hold a higher low somewhere, and then you've got a bit of a trend. For now, it's consolidating off of the bottom in here. It just needs to break this trend line. It's just sitting here. It has a chance if you break out that trend line, get above VWAP, then you've got another big gap to potentially fill. But the Nasdaq's been a hell of a lot stronger, and it's like Microsoft's just putting it on its back right now. Like that's this stock looking fantastic, softy. Again at not the all-time highs, sorry, the day's highs. All-time. Yeah. All-time highs are nowhere close for Microsoft.
Still well a ways from that one. Yeah, but again, like thanks for all the positive words there in the chat about what we're doing here on SPCX. Back up to 133. All right. Well, actually, what am I doing? We already got that fill down there at 133. So right here, we got 132.80s or so. So I was going to put an offer there, but now I'm going to stay a little away from that idea for right now and let it see if we can get back up to that 133.50, which we're at again. Did we just stall out there? Give me that 50 this time. We're at 50. And there it is. We get it. So there it goes, man. Money. We're 4 plus 2. We're $6 right now in the money here as we continue to trade now today. So far, so good on this. Another name that we've been in lately has been Iran, and that's trying to move around just a little bit. Wow, this has been now SpaceX at 130, 134 right now and going higher. SpaceX. Okay. That's that. Yeah, IREN, nice move higher into $41. Still down that 1.7% right now for IREN. This is an interesting name too because this is looking like it wants to blast a little through here on IREN, right? I mean, take out this 44 level right there and then you get going. So we'll see if that's maybe a day 2 or day 3 play. And again, getting hit there on the ETF there coming back in again. So we'll have to wait to see here when they're the hedge fund, wait to see what goes on with IREN potentially making those moves as well. Another name, Caterpillar. And again, I have Microsoft and Google in that account game that we have, as well as Caterpillar. They have not been performing that well. Caterpillar over the last little while, but any kind of a dip by opportunity. I'm still a little nervous. I bought very, very small in my account for the first time at 388 or so on Caterpillar. But that's coming back in. So we'll have to wait to see. 750 might be a good little area there for Cat right now. But as Neil said, though, Microsoft has been cooking. Here, we can actually...
Actually, I want to shout out, we got West Palm Beach Trades just gifted 5 of those Trader TV Live memberships. So I want to shout you out, appreciate you, West Palm Beach Trades. Probably having some fun and some nice weather. We got good weather here too, but I'm sure you're a little bit better closer to the beach over there. Appreciate you and thank you for that. We also did have a super chat, I believe, if we can. There we go. XKR, next big catalyst for the NASDAQ short term, 1 to 2 months, besides geopolitics, oil rates, level you expect given those materialize. One other thing to keep in mind is that, well, did you say rates? Oh, you did say rates. Okay, good. Last week, of course, we had like a big shift in what the odds are for the rates. And I think that's going to be another change that's going to bounce all over the place because we have one data point basically shifted at like 15%. And I don't think we're done with that narrative. Let's go to the desk. I believe Abdera has an update.
I do, and it's a small cap recap. Let's start here with ABCL. This ABCL is accelerating to the upside here. ABCL and Watch after posting phase 2 trial results showing apparently some symptom reduction for one of their treatments. So good look for ABCL. This is actually a larger market cap name though, just under $3 billion market cap with a 19% short float and a 235 million share float. So definitely larger float here, larger market cap for ABCL, but that short float just under 20%, still significant. SCKT, Socket Mobile, if I can pull up this headline here for you guys. In focus here, obviously well removed from this pre-market highs, but still on Watch announcing this North America distribution agreement with 3i Technologies for their Apple-based scanning solution. So always nice when you've got the name of a Mag 7 here in your catalyst, SCKT, with a $13.5 million market cap and a 5.5 million share float. Audia, AUUD, a name that we've discussed a lot here. Looks like it could be basing out after falling from these pre-market highs. Declared their Form S-4 registration statement effective for their proposed merger with Thraman Holdings to form a new company called McCarthy Finney. So merger update here for Audia, just under $7 million market cap, 4.8 million share float, 5% short float for AUUD. Back over to Sean and Neil.
Okay.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good.
Yeah, we saw that name starting to fly through.
That looks like a short.
AUDD, yeah. Underneath, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just have the 2 longs, so right now we're just flying on this one. Palantir now 5, SpaceX now 250, almost a total of more than $8 or more than $7 right now on these 2 names. The interesting thing about SpaceX is we're dealing right now with VWAP, which is also looking at these levels right here. So I am waiting for 134.80. Hopefully we do get that level. That'll be $3. Oh, now it's $3 right now. It doesn't. The price, the amount of money that we're making on this now doesn't matter. We've already booked the profit pretty much. But right now, I mean, anything better is better. So 134.80 is where we're trying to get out right here at the top. Maybe we should just change that and just take it right here. Let's just do it. Doesn't matter. We'll offer some 54s. There it is. We take that out right now. We'll see if we can have that last little diamond hands effect right here of our last 10% only to see where we can go with this now. But a big trade alert right there on SPCX as well as Palantir for those longs. Like nothing's really hitting on my look right now on my scanners. So, Google at the day's high. If anything, I want to go long on Google, not go short on Google. So that's been a miss. The only other thing that I wanted today was Intel shorts right there. And it's still not at those levels. We said deal with VWAP there early. That was a good early trade. Now it's approaching 1030. So the 200 period has played there. Missed opportunity at 98.50. Wow, that was about as easy of a short right there as I could see because you just would have given yourself to there. 98.95. So you get short 50. So you got to still give yourself 50 cents to make about $1. That would have been okay. And I still think you'd be holding this now underneath VWAP. So Intel looking forward. I'm just reviewing my notes.
It's kind of up. It's in a slight uptrend now, though.
Yeah. That's why I'm not looking at this rate yet. And then the other short that we talked about a little bit was Apple. So AAPL. Getting excited on the short side early, and now okay. I mean, maybe VWAP is a look here for Apple. I'm not really sure why that's not spiking on my blotter here on my tracker. So I don't know. Apple right now at 3. Again, like it's just they're kind of just hovering around, right? Like I'm liking the stocks that I'm in just because of the moves. We did have name, and look, like if SpaceX wasn't moving like this, we were going to get out. So it's not. It's not a big deal. Whoever sent up that super chat, though, shout out to you, super chat man, about Tesla, because you were right, man. You're asking about it at VWAP, and it was right down there at 38. That's when I was more obsessed with, and for good reason there. SpaceX, but yeah, nice move up to 130 and change. Just giving you the tops again there. So watch out for 130.50 there for TSLA. Right there. But yeah, 138.50, 139. Yeah, good levels here. Let's see if this pulls back. It looks like SpaceX is trying to pull back, so we do have that really good out right there, holding our last 10%. Let's chop this at 133. So SpaceX will come out. Let's put that order in right now. 132.79. We'll offer that out right there. Give ourselves 20 cents of slippage off of the 200 period. And I've played these as outs, but they can also be reloads back there to said upside. But all right, yeah, drone attacks again. I mean, I don't even want to really read the rest of the story. It's not
moving you
relevant. Yeah, there goes USO. We just feel bad for everybody in that region, right, that continues to suffer through these situations with the government and this back and forth. And there's so much uncertainty over there. It's really does suck. But USO right now definitely ticking a little bit higher. And I'm just in la land right now. About this PLTR. I'm just going to have to offer it right here. 177.50. This has like been a boon for many different accounts, including our day trading one here. And then, our longer term account as well. Like just what a name, what a great time for Palantir right now. Up to 177 and change was hit during SaaSmageddon for sure. Michael Burry had that short on. I don't know what the situation still is with that, but there it goes, man. Big time aggressive moves and definitely worth, I might actually do it right now. Definitely worth taking a little bit out here on Palantir. Wow, we are now almost $9 right now in the money. Have that fruit salad, Mr. Roberts. I saw Joe got some as well. We like in the fruit salad trades today, everybody. But there it goes. Nice move up there for Palantir. Nice moves up there for SpaceX. And we'll just look to see some more trades coming through. But what a fun day it's been so far. Just hitting the longs and waiting to see what this market's going to do.
Yeah, there's only been 5 trades, and we haven't been any losers yet, but I'm getting short that AUD, and I'll show you why in a second. ACHR did break trend, and now I want to see it get back into VWAP. Kind of a heavy turn there, so I want to see it bounce, hold a higher low, or you have to wait for $6.25. It's AUD that we want to the south side, and it's holding the trend. But the more important thing to the downside, I didn't really draw that very well here. It doesn't really make a difference, but I can show you on the black chart. It's just underneath the trend line, just put in a topping tail candle at 33. But these failing underneath the volume weighted average price, last week, on Friday, had one that went 70 to 30 cents or 40 cents. It was like 30 pennies, a 40% move to the downside. Now here, with the ability to sort of grab it, risk 5 pennies. I want to look to add at 30 if we can. The idea is to risk 5 cents, and I'm looking for a tracement back into the dollar level with AUD. So risk to reward, even if it just gets to, once it's at 20s, that's effectively like a 2-to-1. So it's not about whether you like this story or not. These are small cap trades. Once they start trending down on those VWAP, they can be absolutely fantastic for some follow through. Just wish I had seen it a little bit earlier down in this 145 level if we could, but that's fine. ACHR, we're going to again look for that volume weighted average price if we can get it. SMCI, that's pulling back into VWAP as well. The market's not really showing signs of turning. That's why I don't love this. Like, it just feels like we're still pressing the tops a little bit, but like the market's holding on to VWAP a little bit better. If we end up breaking down toward the lows, then I have the feeling we're going to be seeing this 32 instead of VWAP. But SMCI is one I want to try to get back into. This is the first test of VWAP since we got in to it earlier. So this is going to be on the radar, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a long entry. Might have to wait for 32 even on this. Even look for maybe a tech short if we're going to lose the bid here. My first thought was DRAM, because that's a huge reversal on DRAM. Just a little bit weaker of the memory chip names for now. So if we get short, it'll be because the Nasdaq's losing VWAP and DRAM can't hold it.
Just posting up here on Twitter because I just wanted to mark out that SpaceX right here. Just let everybody know I put this trade on Twitter as we first took it. Same as the Palantir trade, so you can join me a little bit earlier if you're not watching the show. Follow and you can get some updates. But yeah, just approaching the 200 period moving average. So that's kind of what I wanted to write to everybody here because I'm just doing it right now. You know, we already talked about that. Overall feel long bias on SpaceX. This was written at 8 o'clock. And the long bias is definitely printed out so far as we wanted to wait for that 130 to 132 long. That's the lows of the day right here between it got as low as 131.15s or so. So that would have been, you know, a take right there back to the upside. We were already in. I was waiting for 130.50. I still actually have that bid. You might as well cancel that at some point there. But I'm just going to write that we are approaching right now into the 200 period moving average. I only have 10% left. So just wanted to give that as a little bit of an update for everybody that SKCT has halted one more time as that just goes back and forth, bouncing. We'll see what winds up happening. LZMH, potentially a new one here. LZMH just started going with volume like 8 minutes ago. Huge move higher, now halting back down. Watch out to see where this one opens up on. I think there could be a good trade here with LZMH. Pull this down a little bit so you can see the symbol. LZMH right now halting and looking like it potentially wants to open up in and around some of this past support levels, which could turn out to be resistance. So right now tapping, closing at 149, tapping, which is a theoretical auction price, right there at 136 right now, trying to get a little bit better. In just 37 days, we said there could be some fireworks. I had, again, some great experiences on the last Fed day, which was just a couple weeks ago. 52% chance that we do nothing, but now a 48% chance that we do something, and that would be a rate increase. So right now it's just the two options: stay at 52 or go at 48. So that's pretty much 1-to-1 right now on this. What is this, U.S. elections? So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening now back to the upside. I feel like by the time 37 days from now, we have a big week as well, right? CPI is this week and a couple good indicators for the net movement there by the Fed. So just watch out now in the next little while for those plays to come out. And it looks like SpaceX, man, we were just talking about it and we didn't get to warn. We warned everybody, but there's the pullback in right now on SpaceX. Remember, our stop is still 133. So I'm going to get this tweet out. And yeah, watch out for Palantir up to 178 as well.
Just one note, and good luck on that LZMH, by the way, because this was a better example of the losing VWAP phenomenon from last week. Like the halting down is a bigger deal when it loses VWAP. That was YJ. That was the other one last week. YJ halted under VWAP, and then it was a short the rest of the day. And then it was the same thing with QNME, halted down, and then was a short under VWAP that just continued to drop. So really, like the stock halting down through the volume weighted average price is even better. But this one's got a huge bar to be able to get a retest, 170 to 175. And if you're wondering how we can short these, because at real trading, LZMH costs 0.1 cents for a single share, for each share that you want to be able to go short. So we can short these ones and want to take advantage of them if we can. But that's the idea. It's to try to get, and I like this one a little bit better, it's to try to just get one that you can hold. We showed you last Friday, but if you want that tight risk to try to capture a big move. Some might say, well, if it's under VWAP, why don't you give it to VWAP? No, because I want to risk a little to try to make a lot. But it is much better if it's one of the ones that's halting, because if it's halting, that means much more volatility and that they gave it up a little bit more on that LZMH. I want to say LVMH because, well, that's a luxury brand. Obviously. So in my brain, it's going to be that. So LZMH, there's some confirmation candle. So it's the same pattern as the one before. I want to put a stop at the prior high, and I want to get involved in this bar in here. And if it breaks the top dead and the low is $1.10, so I think all the way to $1.10 would be the target. Because these are ones that I'm just going to start taking. I know it's something that Luis has looked at, but after seeing it last week, especially with these parabolic halters, it's just worth the ride.
Yeah, these are, talk about worth the ride. Yeah, find the names that are moving and stay with them. You know, we first updated this, it was $4 or $5 in. Now we're $10 now in the money. SpaceX is now 4 in. And we had, and again, like we have done this, we did this on Friday. We've been doing this all the time on SpaceX, just as Neil said, looking for small, like our out is 131. So you want to talk about, you know, risk to reward. Like this is now $5. This is 10 to 1 right now on the risk to reward for SpaceX, you know. So that's a huge move. And Palantir, we got into Palantir and really didn't have an out initially because we got in at VWAP. I mean, we probably would have given this one, I don't know, because we only had half a unit, maybe a little lower, but at the end of the day, there it goes all the way to the upside, and 178 sounds like a deal to me. So let's get an offer out. Here, let's just punch them out here in case it goes to the downside. There it is. We get 97s there, 177.97 there on PLTR. Okay, what's up, man? All right, let's go back over this. LZMH is now open.
It's dead.
Yeah, it's dead for now. I still think it's going to bounce back. LZMH. Remember, yes, last week, guys, you know, I traded some of these names and really did quite well on some of them. So let's give us a little bit of room here on LZMH, pulling right back into the 200 period moving average. We'll see about taking a long on the next halt to the upside. If it happens, it may as well be dead. Who knows? But let's give it a shot here. As volume just started picking up, basically at these levels, 130 to 140. Now it falls back in on that halt. Never a good sign there. I'm sure there's no news with LZMH, but nice move higher regardless there. So it just went from 113 to 130. So here we go, man. What is dead? Maybe dead, and what is dead? Maybe alive. One more time there. But we're still focused on the two big trades of the day for myself, but I'm definitely looking at LZMH. If this does halt upside, I think I'm going to take that halt. So let's give it a go. We'll see if we can do that. LZMH on my mind here so far today, but you know, we still got those two on, and we're doing pretty good. We haven't added to any positions here. Looking to see if you guys want to do anything. SoFi at 18 might be something interesting there. If SoFi can come back up, to some of these highs, maybe a short, but that was a beautiful bounce off 18. We had seen that over the last couple of days there. $18 as a bid has come through. We've only gotten as high as almost 19 on those plays, but right now SoFi trying to do a little bit of a dance. Bitcoin has been disappointing. I didn't write that down today, just didn't really get a feel that it was going to do anything. And then there, of course, goes Robinhood's trying to go boom as well. Flat-ish on the day, but at least it's up. SoFi slightly down, Robinhood slightly up, as these two names kind of deal with their own demons here. I think Robinhood can win just because of the trading that's been happening in the broader markets, right? A lot of volume coming through, especially with a lot of these hitters, like these quick ones, these Chinese ones. Like I think Robinhood definitely gets a lot of flow.
Well, with the PDT rule on, I think that's the big thing for these small cappers. It's just you don't have to sit there. We're not speaking for ourselves. We're speaking for people that were under the PDT rule. You don't have to sit there limited in the amount of trades that you're able to take. You can get in and trade effectively one or two every single day instead of picking your spots. And maybe that's why you're seeing a lot more of them pop off. But I don't think they're lasting that much longer. I just think there's more of them. It's not as if all of a sudden you're in these things for like 5, 6, 7 days. No, it's just there's more of them going 100% every single day, but they're also just losing the bid after the fact. What's not losing? Well, SMCI is trying to hold VWAP, but you saw a little bit of a bounce. If this bar can close holding on at 32.6, then we can have that 32.5 or the long in front of 32.5. But what is going, and I shouldn't have written you off, Silver. That was my bad. They weren't doing anything in the morning, but something happened at 10 o'clock, and then all of a sudden SLV and gold started to fly. This is a good-looking uptrend with a little bit more room to go into Friday's high. I think the problem was on Friday that everyone just fell asleep after like the first bounce up. Like it just went one move in the pre-market, and then everyone was like, that's pretty much it. The buyers just said no more. Well, I like the chance to get back into 58.9. So if it's not going to be SMCI reload, then silver almost right in here. Just take the bull flag, play it back into the high, like me some SLV. And I think the metals are in an upward trend now. The hedge is back on. The favor is not to go over to Bitcoin. It is to go into the metals. And silver tends to give you a little bit extra juice to the upside than gold does. Usually, not every day, but most of the time, you're able to get a little bit more juice out of silver. And I do like that daily trend that we're able to see for sure. So, as said, I like the short on it, LZMH. And the second we said it, it basically went down like 30-something%. So it was right in here. There's your halt, the reopen. The problem is getting short was nearly impossible. There wasn't a lot of liquidity in the 150 to 160 range, and it never retraced, and it hit the low. So just like the ones we were pointing out, and it did the same thing on Friday. Hit the low and even continued. So if you were able to get the 150s, that was about 35-40% and down. It is at the halt band now.
Is it? Like I gotta
actually
I don't even see limit up limit.
I don't think it's working.
So just as
it hit the halt band, but I actually didn't see it on my level 2.
Just to show you how difficult these are, right? It came back over to here, and it was like Neil said it, and I didn't necessarily disagree. It was just that this stock is dead. And since then, man, it popped up 30%, and now maybe back to the downside again. So, yeah, I don't think this, we don't have a story on it, so you just got to be careful. That I was hoping it was actually going to halt where it should have, somewhere down here on the way back up, but instead it halts all the way up here. So halts back here. Like if it had halted somewhere around here, we were definitely on the long, which is why I've been watching it. So, definitely a good little look there for anybody on LZMH. And right now, its tap is where it closed. It's tapping 158. So closed 157, 158. So probably, it doesn't look like it's doing a whole heck of a lot there. This SCKT, when will this stop halting? I don't know. We'll wait to see on that one. SCKT. All right, Palantir won't halt, but it doesn't need to. More outs there at 179. I mean, hate to beat a dead horse, but hey, man, this is $6 in the money right there for that one. And SpaceX getting a little tired up here, right? We had just mentioned the 200 period. We tweeted out about it. Maybe a level to look at right there. What about now, instead of getting out at 132 break, let's get out this 133.50. So let's just keep on putting our stops, our trails a little bit higher, right? So now this one can go to 133.50, so 133.49. Oopsies. 133.49 as we continue to trade and host and have a good time and put up some numbers for y'all right there. I just wanted to say, here in Toronto, for those of you that aren't familiar with, what kind of weather we get around here, you see this says feels like 32. That's 95 Fahrenheit. So right now in the city of Toronto, it's getting warmer today, 35, 36, 35, 36, 35. So, this is all 100, in and around 100 right now. And then we play tonight as well. So we don't play till 8, but it is looking like there is some risks of thunderstorms.
Oh, it's going to clear up.
Right here, 4, 5, 6, 7, all raining. And then 8 and 9, 40%, 40%. So we'll see if we wind up playing. We had a very busy week playing this week. So
it's not raining a lot.
Lots of fun.
If there's a single lightning strike, they have
of course.
There's very harsh rules if you even see lightning.
Yeah, all sports for that one.
Well, it wasn't like that when we were kids. I remember. No, I'm dead serious. I was playing in a tournament. I want to say I was 13 or 14 years old, and we were out of town in a tournament, and you could see a storm was coming in, and we played. I was in metal cleats, and you could see there was lightning and thunder. It was I don't know, town whatever away, and we played through it. And that same weekend in a tournament, another city from us, a teenage boy got struck by lightning, and I remember it was never again. If it's even remotely close, they don't play around with that nonsense, which they shouldn't. It's just that sometimes, it'll be completely clear and it's not going to come anywhere close. But if they can see it anywhere in the distance, they'll just, the kids will call it, because the umps. They're kids too. We're going to go to Adara. It's only 10:42, but we are getting a new breakout happening in the market, which is going to make me not DRAM, but it's time to get back into SM Sizzle. Adara?
Excuse me, we're going to talk here about the sectors, but I also want to talk here about Some comments coming from the spokesperson for foreign affairs for Iran saying that U.S.'s escalating actions are, quote, still ongoing, though the spokesperson also said that Iran believes it can reach an understanding with Oman, which is, quote, not far off. So Oman-Iran talks going well, U.S.-Iran talks not going so well. Let's take a look here at the sector board. Lots of strength here in energy minerals. I just talked about the tensions in the Middle East, which unfortunately are ongoing and are pushing energy minerals to the upside. Tech services is looking great. Other than AppLovin, lots of strength here in this sector. You've got Oracle up about 2%, Meta up about 2%, Microsoft, which we know is going to be introducing its new Maya chip, potentially in September. They're also up about 2%. Fortinet, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks all up about 4% each. So these cybersecurity names plus Palantir really outperforming an already strong sector. Datadog also here in earnings day 3, up nearly 7%. You also have strength here in health tech, and then you got a lot of weakness everywhere else. So electronic technology, Intel down about 3%. They're trying to raise $15 billion for AI spending. Apple, NVDA, the two Mag 7s in the sector, both trading lower, though you do have some strength in the likes of SanDisk, Dell, LMT. So some of the names of the sector are strong. It's just not the leaders within the sector. You also have weakness here in utilities. You've got weakness in consumer services. And other than Amazon, retail trade looking pretty weak as well. Back over to Sean and to Neil.
Meta finally going.
Retail trading, eh? Okay.
Meta is finally picking up here.
Okay, well, let's have a look at Meta then.
I mean, the key thing for Meta has been 600. Look at the breakout right through. Guess what VWAP was when it broke out? Go figure. Exactly $600. What are the odds? So Meta maybe has a chance to go, but I'll be convinced when it holds the 50 period finally, and doesn't get completely rejected in the high 600s. Like, this still has some work to do to prove that it's in league with. I mean, look at Microsoft. Relatively speaking, like if you're talking about a comeback story, that comeback story is much, much better with Microsoft. Not just on the chart. I'm not just talking about the chart. I mean, with Microsoft, you also have like the fantastic quarter that they had. Like, they also blew it out with the quarter. So it's fundamentally amazing, and the chart looks fantastic as well. Adam James, are you still abroad, Adam? We have a super chat in here from him. I'll throw that one up. PCLA. What is that one? Picosella? Not familiar with it. Is a wait for it boom? Yeah, that'll work. 74%. It's halted 410. I'm getting a tap that's flat here, so it looks like it's gonna open up pretty much exactly where it is. It's going to double check to see if we have a story. Not that there needs to be a story on these. I don't see a story for PCLA. So as usual, this is happening without a potential catalyst, and seems like it's normal. 6.5 million float, only 3% short. So it's a small float, but it's not super tiny. The volume is the issue here. 450,000 shares worth of volume. So yeah, it's got a volume spike. It's not doing a ton of volume in the first place. So 450K, like less than 1 million shares, and we're at 1046 and it's halted. I'd like to see if it's going to continue to increase that volume up. You want to see these things do millions, ideally. Most of the runners that we've seen do like the 100, 200% and continue to go ham have been well over a million. What's IZM whatever? Like, that's probably done multiple millions, I'd have to guess.
Yeah, this LZMH.
That's the one I'm in, LZ.
Yeah, just ripped up again into 190 right there. So congratulations, anybody. Awesome. That took that one. Again, like, we talk about this with gambling sometimes, but like really reading the board seems to be pretty good. Like, I liked that dip down there, just was waiting for it to halt there on the way back up and didn't do it till 157, then opens up right into these levels again. So yeah, really happy with the way trading's been going lately. This looks like this will halt down, and then we'll let it settle out again, and then look to see if we can buy down here in 120 to 130 again right now. He's on fire a little bit. What's up, Drew Farrell? You're long as well. Okay, good job there in the portfolio on PL. I've already said this already. Like, I got some out at 157, 158. 157 change, and I was really happy with that move up in Palantir. I'm even happier today that we made it back into this 180 range here for PLTR. So I think we'll head over into the account and get out of some more Palantir there today, as this has been really good. What's up to Dane Generous and everybody here? What are you guys saying? Oh, good. Over the weekend you added there to your Palantir, so that's nice. Okay, you guess you should have chased it? Yeah, Jeremy, I mean, it was a tough one. I basically just waited for the pullback in the VWAP there, but I did have a 175 break long, which turned out to be just as good. The daytrade, but still holding for a swing. Okay, so shout out to you, MF. Yeah, same kind of thing, right? I'm still in it in the longer term portfolio there, but you know, not really. Now I'm out, but getting more and more out of Palantir. I just put a stop in at 177. We may have to, yeah, no, still the same one. So 177 break there. Let's double check our SpaceX, which is now, let's go on SpaceX, man. 136. I mean, this was, again, another one. Like, we've been really nailing, like I said, reading the board, really nailing this, man. 131 long there on SpaceX is what we wrote down. We're long at 131.75. So we wrote down between 130 to 132 as we continue to go upside. We still don't have what's for lunch today. So unfortunately, that's not in yet, unless
I guess they just don't give us any.
No, I think now because it's done individuals, we don't have that. So, but we don't need that, man. We're just eating superpowers all weekend, anyways, and brought it over to the market here. So, hopefully, you guys are enjoying it. It's been a good one here so far today, as just two trades early, and we just sit on them and wait to see if we find any more opportunities like that LZMH. Hopefully, we get that. Maybe it's tilapia showtime. Maybe it is.
Nah.
If it is, I will be having salmon.
It will not be. We haven't got. I think.
It was about 2 weeks ago.
I think it's off the menu.
No, 2 weeks ago we got tilapia. There was tilapia.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, whatever. I don't eat it anyways.
Thank you, Adaro.
What I would love to have
Thank you,
is
Adaro.
I'd go for a burger.
Thank you very much,
Yes,
Darren.
burger or
That's what I'd
sandwiches
go
has
for.
been a good talk.
Burger, sandwich, that would be up my radar a little bit more if we could get that. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We'll enjoy whatever it is. We got about 10 minutes to go here. Did that open up? Did socket open back up again? Oh, no, it halted again. Never mind. This one halted again. This one just cannot seem to trade and is halting basically every 2 seconds. And then PCLA, which was the recent one, that Pico, that one opened again. That's the one that opened again and then halted at a new fresh high. But it only did about 50,000 shares. It's only done 500,000 shares, so it's barely any volume on this sucker. Just be careful. It's not a lot of volume on this. The SMCI, we're able to get in when it bounced back through VWAP. There's still the 33 seller to be dealt with. So I think it's the $0.50 to 33 and then above 33 to work into 33.5. That's what we're working with next if one of these small cappers doesn't go. And then remember, we haven't seen, you're still looking weak on DRAM. The market's, maybe the market's holding it up. It hasn't broken down underneath VWAP. But this feels like it's just not participating. You're down 1% in the memory names, whereas the NASDAQ's barely green. The ES is also slightly green. But they're just not getting off the schneid. So I still feel like these can be a nice breakdown. Once you close, you need to close a bar underneath and then break lower under the 50 level instead of constantly finding the bid. But yeah, I do still think I'm going to get short under VWAP on DRAM, but it's over VWAP for now, so it doesn't really. You can't be short under VWAP if it's holding over. But these guys are weak. You look down across the board, my guess is SK Hynix is probably leading the way. Yeah, SK Hynix seems like it's dragging things down the most. Micron under $900. That's also right underneath VWAP. Yeah, memory wants to go lower, it feels like here. So what is strong then?
Yeah, I mean, I was, looks like energy, of course, strong here with XOM, CVX, Conoco up 3%, Valero. I mean, it's a good day to be long in the energy space, including your XLEs and any of those ETFs, HOU, anything like that. Today going to be a good one. And then technology, the services space, nothing weak today, as we just talked about. Some of the resurgence there to the downside in the chip names. You get a name like Oracle's back to 150. That was 120. Oracle up 2.5% today. Meta up. My boy Palantir up. My boy CrowdStrike up. PanW up as well. We like all that name as well. Netflix, Microsoft, all of these names starting to blast. And then, you know, also look at the financials, right? Not really a weak name in here today. I mean, if you dig down, you're going to find something. But Morgan up, Berkshire nicely kicking as well in that Google news. Charles Schwab, another name that I have a small piece in, that's starting to go upside. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, all up. And then this is really where the weakness is, as we've talked a little bit there. People a little nervous about what maybe is to come with Intel. So, you know, definitely try to check out a little bit of Intel action, as that one moving around a bit there today. AMD down off the offering, right? AMD down 1%, KLAC, Qualcomm. There's your GLW. I still like Corning, but the market apparently doesn't. Qualcomm I like. I haven't bought any more. I think we're long about 177 on that one. So that's been a little bit of a problem. Dell, dude, get yourself a Dell. That's up 3% as well, back up to 467 as well. Apple down 2, NVIDIA down 1.5. NVIDIA is the interesting name because I think that one does have some get up back into it. Just checking back in. Shreve sits down. Shreve, we're $10 in the money right now, both with 7 on Palantir, 3 on SpaceX, but we're getting lighter on them, right? Let's adjust this. 177.50 now the new stops as we just keep on getting a little bit more greedy as these continue to go higher. But let's change our stops as we get going. And on SpaceX, yeah, man, there's the dip buy right there at 131. We just patient for it. We got it right there at the price that we wanted, right? I wasn't sure when we wrote it down if we would get down here to 132, but the pre-market started getting a little jittery there. Off open, falls right back in, and we're still right here. But why not a 134 break? Is that what I have? I have one. Okay, I see. I have 133.50. So now let's change this to 133.99. If we break that, then we can get out. Small pieces left on both of these trades. Without any further ado, it's time to go figure out what to do with all this money in Money Talks.
I drew a trend line here because the US dollar is actually more or less holding on to pretty well this trend, the uptrend, starting here with these lows on Tuesday, January 27th. So since then, we've bounced cleanly off this trend line on May 6th, and we're kind of right now, we briefly broke below it as of Friday, but we're holding on to it fairly well here as of, again, the last couple of days. So what we'd like to see, I guess, to continue this uptrend would be a hold above that 100.05 level that served as resistance going back last week. That is the look here, I think, for the DXY for this trend line. But let's talk about what the look is for rates. So it is worth mentioning we have some pretty big hot ticket economic data releases this week. You've got CPI Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., PPI Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Friday, you've got 8:30 a.m. retail releases, like retail sales, and then at 10 a.m., you have University of Michigan consumer sentiment, which includes an inflation-related print. So that's what we're expecting this week. That is some pretty heavy economic data in the back half of the week. Let's take a look here. So again, we're still seeing roughly 50-50 chances that we'll get rates held here or potentially hiked in September. But then you're also seeing right now a good chance we'll get a hike in October. If that doesn't come through in September, then another hike potentially in March. So still seeing 2 hikes over the next 14 or so months. If you look forward here, this is the expectations for that September meeting, just over a month away. Again, just under 46% chance of a hike, 54% chance of a hold. So pretty close to 50-50 right now. Again, with quite a ways away and lots of hot economic data releases to still digest ahead of this meeting. Back over to Sean and Neil.
Okay.
Yeah, back to a coin flip. So look, it's not, this story is not done in terms of how much it's going to flip around. We'll get more data. And now obviously, we'll probably hear the president weigh in a little bit about that. They're in a tricky spot because debt is ridiculously high. So,
yeah.
Raising rates when the debt's at where it's at it's problematic to begin with. But if the data doesn't go the right way, it kind of puts Warsh in a tough spot. But he has other options. I mean, he's a monetarist, so you know what he can do. He can let the balance sheet run off, and that's another way to be able to play it. So flipped into DRAM short, but we also jumped out of the SMCI long, so it went one step up, but once it broke down under VWAP, just hopped out. I don't mind jumping back into the trend, but I don't want to be trying to long this underneath VWAP unless it's the 32 level. And then, as we had said, SK Hynix, Micron, we're starting to lose a bit of the bid. Jumped in just underneath 50s, was able to get 80s there. That's 49.8 on DRAM. That's where support has been. Then you've got a bit of a gap to the 49.5. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, and it's the NASDAQ too. Like the NASDAQ did this, which is a pretty distinct candle. That's actually a pretty heavy candle. I'm willing to bet Microsoft's had something to do with that. Well, Microsoft was already pulling back off the highs, but now accelerating back into the volume-weighted average price itself. So what about Apple? Just looking under the hood of the NASDAQ, Apple didn't budge. Apple doesn't seem to care. They weren't doing anything. And NVIDIA, what are the biggest? Yeah, okay, here we go. NVIDIA breaking a new fresh low here, down 2%.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck, and more yuck. But you know what? That is a dip into an uptrend on NVIDIA. So where's our support? We still have a ways to go. 217 was last week's support, and then you could even call 215 support. So this afternoon, we should be looking at 215 or 217 on NVIDIA. I guess they're just passing the baton a little bit here today. They led us last week, and then we said it had a chance to get to the all-time high. Uptrends don't go up every single day. Part of it is you might have a little bit of a dip here. They're only the second red day in a week and a half for NVIDIA.
Yeah, it feels silly because I was thinking short on NVIDIA early and just didn't take it because we had these other two longs. Intel's been disappointing. Like, this is the one that I'm kind of waiting for something to happen. It did have one bump to short there, 98.50, but really hasn't given any more juice to that. Yo, what's up, Mike Peter Ryder? Ahoy, ahoy, he says. What's up, Drew? Like that one. Ahoy for Mike.
He's in pirate mode today.
De Ryder, pirate mode. Okay, very interesting over there. Arg.
We'll call us landlubbers.
De Ryder over there again. Yeah, interesting gentleman. All right, so shout out to Mike. Thank you for participating in the chat. Of course, two individuals that are a little more, way more aggressive into the chat are coming up very, very soon. That's going to be Sharif and Joe. So get ready, put your notes there in the chat. These guys will talk to you guys about everything you want as per usual. So that's going to be a good one there. Look at this, man. Wing Yip is back. So what's up to Wing Yip? WYHG right now, back up to the upside there for Wing Yip. So we'll see that's going to go. Halted 783, tap 784, doing its own damn thing right now. Wing Yip, a couple of different halts coming through there. There's that PCLA you guys have brought our attention to. And I still have LZMH on the watch as well. And right back into these levels. So again, like, the last halt up was good. We thought it would be. We didn't take it. Let's wait to see what happens now with the next halt up. If it halts up, it's not doing a whole heck of a lot right now at those levels. And then SCKT did open up for a couple minutes, but now back into the feels of a halt. So just before we go and let you guys go right now with a couple seconds left, Palantir's coming out at 170 right now, 177.50. So a little bit of a move down there for Palantir. We're going to get out. We'll give it about 50 cents off of that level. SpaceX coming out at 134. So that's right here. Basically, VWAP giving that a little bit more room at 50-cent level or so. So yeah, that's it, man. It's been a good day. Needless to say, only two trades. Both happened really early, and that's all it needs, man. A couple good trades there to make your day. So my day is now made, and we'll be back with you guys at 2 p.m. We're going to see what's for lunch.
We'll see. Adam James abroad wants 100 on PCLA. At first, I was like, man, you're just making up that number because it's 100. And then I actually looked at the chart, and apparently the stock was at $100 at one point. 110 to be exact. So you have to zoom out really, really far for PCLA. Back into last year, I suppose. It did have at least one split in here, one for 30. I guess that wasn't one. But yeah, good luck. It is open back up. It is at the highs. It's up 100%. It's finally done over 1 million shares. So I guess it crosses all the T's and dots the I's for a small cap runner that the boys will be looking at. That is that PCLA. Similar to PCA. It's got the same juice that the NL MVP seems to bring to the table every single game. Gossman's going to love playing in front of that dude. He's like Willie Mays out in center field.
Yeah, I know, PCA.
The kid's a freak, but these stocks, they're only fun for a good time, not necessarily a long time. So be careful with them. You've seen them get nasty in the back half of the day before. We saw that multiple times on Friday. Some of them giving up 70, 80% retracements and closing lower than they did before. I'm not saying PCLA will, but it's something you want to keep aware of. We'll send you guys over to the midday. Got Joey options. We got the professor, and we're going to have some mystery lunch. We'll see.
Friday's lunch was good.
Yeah, you didn't have it?
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, ba-da-dum. We're going to limit up, Assassino. It's going to limit up.